We are less than 24 hours away from what the Vikings are going to do with their future. Are we going to be happy? Are we going to be sad? Good thing about this show is that we can look back and see the great decisions they made, and as you can tell from the thumbnail, the not so great decisions that they made. Not necessarily the worst guy, not necessarily the best guy, but you know, we'll find out.
Skull Vikings, let's win this game. Skull Vikings, honor your name. Go get that first down, then get a touchdown. Rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, 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 fight. Go Vikings, run out the score. You'll hear us yell for more. V-I-K-I-N-G-S. Skull Vikings, let's roll.
How about Yogi with the new graphics?
New graphics.
New
Good
video.
job.
Whereas, only thing we requested was don't change the theme song, and he didn't. So
He didn't change it.
Yeah, Yogi's been busy changing the logo, changing the look of our Fat Boys football focus. So, so the draft. This is, as everybody knows, draft is tomorrow night. We know the Vikings have had some good ones. They've had some awful ones, just like any other team. The guy on the thumbnail obviously is, one of my favorite picks of all time. I don't know. We'll get into the discussion if he's the best wide receiver taken. Pate is Honor the worst quarterback taken. We'll discuss that as well. But those were just two quick guys that I picked on the thumbnail.
A mild to moderate eczema treatment that helps clear skin without.
It's hard to say because there's so many Hall of Famers. Also there's also undrafted free agents that are Hall of Famers as well. So it's just, I was watching some shows from like NFL Network talking about the draft, like 65 draft, 64 draft. It's still got the most Hall of Famers ever. I think there was 13 from that draft.
Which one is that?
1964.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the 65 draft was a Wild West because that's when the AFL got the money from NBC.
Yeah.
So they were it was a Wild West. The AFL got that money from NBC, so they were spending a lot. Joe Namath got $400,000 and a brand new Kelly Green convertible. Yeah, he got a Lincoln Continental Kelly Green convertible with the suicide doors and all that stuff. It was just pretty interesting to see that. We got Mama in the house.
Hey, Mom.
Oh, Davey, that's why I said it's gonna be tough to pick some of the worst draft picks on some of these positions. On some of these positions, it's gonna be hard to pick the best.
Only thing I can say about that one, Davey, is at least Erasmus played.
Yeah, and then Skull, we are so ready.
Yeah, I'm ready for it to be over with.
That's true. It's some positions I think might have a clear-cut favorite as to who the best is. Some might have a clear-cut favorite who the worst is, but there's ones where there's some good ones and there's some bad ones. So
we're doing number ones, right?
No, we're just doing picks of that position in general.
That the Vikings drafted?
Yes.
Okay, that's easy.
So I have a list. So they've drafted a lot of good receivers. But because you got Gene Washington, he was great.
Injuries kind of shortened his career.
Yeah.
Injuries and bad quarterback play after Joe Kapp left is what basically kind of halted his career. He ended up in Denver.
Sammy White.
Yeah, Sammy. I would put Sammy number of all the wide receivers we've drafted that made the team. I would have Sammy number 2.
Jake Reed. Some people. I think Sammy White and Jake Reed, same school.
Yeah, and they're both tied for 2 or 3, both of them.
So then you have They got Nate Burleson. They drafted him as well. Sidney Rice, um, Jarius Wright. So these are the good ones. I'm saying
So he did.
Jarius Wright.
Davy's got a Davy Chains. Bob Grimm was a very good player. He was a
Yeah,
very good wide receiver. He was a special teamer, and he went to the Pro Bowl in '71. He was able to show he could play because both John Henderson and Gene Washington were hurt. So he stepped up. He was the next man up, and he proved he could play. And then he got traded the next year as part of the Targeted trade to the Giants.
and Jack Snow was better as a was he a Ram or Raider?
I don't even count Jack Snow. I don't even count him. He never played it down as a Viking, so I don't even count
Funny,
him.
Oscar Reed was drafted as a receiver.
He was drafted as a wide receiver.
Yeah,
Wow. He was a good receiver out of the backfield. Give him credit. As much as I've read the Vikings, I never realized he was drafted as a wide receiver.
Jim Lash was serviceable. I wouldn't say he was great, but he wasn't
He was good. He was next to Gilliam, so
yeah.
Gilliam got all the catches, but he was decent.
So after looking at this, but one of the best names ever, but he was probably the worst. I'll get Hassan Jones was also.
Hassan was good while he played.
Yep.
He was good while he played.
Let's see, David Palmer. He was not really a receiver. He was kind of a do-it-all guy.
He was
type of guy.
I call him a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
He did everything.
Matthew Hatchett, who is now an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Tate switched to corner. Nate Burleson was pretty good. Sidney Rice was pretty good. Percy Harvin.
Davey, we didn't draft Leo Lewis. Leo Lewis was signed as a free agent in '81.
Yeah.
And Percy if we had a good quarterback, and you don't know what his attitude might have been, but his migraines were what drove him out of the league.
Yeah.
So
Stephon Diggs. Let's see. Olabisi Johnson for 7th rounder. He gave us a couple good years.
Yeah.
Then Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. So those are the really good ones.
And I won't give Addison and Jefferson anything because they're still playing.
Yeah. So obviously, it's Moss.
It better be.
So that's what I'm saying. Some positions have odds. Some positions are clear cut. Some aren't.
No, if you're saying anybody besides Randy Moss, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
It's Randy Moss.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, number 2 and 3 is up for debate. I would have Moss. Number 2, I would have Sammy White.
Yeah.
Number 3, I would have Jake Reed. And I'm not taking nothing away from, Gene Washington or any of those guys, but those two, Sammy White did the dirty work. Rashad got the glory, but Sammy White did the dirty work. So, yeah. And then Jake Reed. So, yeah, for me, the top wide receivers that we've drafted were Moss, Sammy White, and Jake Reed.
Yeah. So now there's the other side. See, got where would you put Ray Poage?
Who?
Ray Poage.
Ray Pogue?
Yeah.
Never saw him play. But I didn't. I haven't heard much about him. I think he was with the team for a couple of years.
Hal Bledsoe.
Hal Bledsoe. He was, for the time, serviceable.
Lance Ritzel, not Howard Twilley.
Yeah, let's not talk about Lance Ritzel. And Howard Twilley was a Dolphin.
Ron Green, John Beasley.
John Beasley?
Ken Last, Earl Denny.
John Beasley ended up playing tight end for the Vikings.
So Ron Wary, Bill Haas, Bob Coolidge, Tom McCauley, Harris Wood.
He was here 1 year. Davey, Tom Hall was a gopher, and Tom Hall was pretty decent. Tom Hall was pretty good.
Mike O'Shea,
And some of these guys didn't even make the team.
Volley Murphy, Bruce Carone, Tom Spinks. So they've had some bad picks.
Yeah, they had a lot of the guys, like, I mean, especially back in the day when you had 17 rounds, 20 rounds,
Yeah.
and 15 rounds, you were just going to get space fillers.
So, so before, so after they took Sammy White, they took Leonard Willis.
Yeah, he was a kick returner for a couple of years, 1 year
Yeah.
at least. I think he got released in 77.
Billy Diggs, Marty McCole.
Marty McDowell
Yeah.
did nothing for us in the years he was here.
Lawrence Thompson, Mike Jones, Ron Archer, Hector.
Mike Jones was actually pretty good.
Lawrence Thompson,
Never played it down.
Keith Kidd,
Spent time on IR. That's it.
Buster Rhymes, who thought Minnesota was a city and not a state.
Yeah, Buster, if it wasn't for the substance abuse, he probably would have. He was a hell of a kick returner. He didn't get on the field much as a wide receiver, but he was a good kick returner. Substance abuse is what ended his career.
Yeah. Darren Hughes, Reggie Thornton, Paul Newton. These guys just never made a team, so I don't know if you can consider them the worst.
I don't even consider them.
So if you look at it that way, Keaton Howery was pretty bad. He was supposed to be good. He was pretty bad.
Yeah, Howery was there when luckily he had Dante.
Yeah.
In that.
So now the 2000s, and this is probably where the really bad picks start happening. You got Andre Allison.
He had a kick return for 104 yards, but that's it.
Yeah. Chandler Williams. Troy Williamson.
Oh God.
Troy Walters.
His dad was a coach with the team.
Cedric James.
Yeah.
Jamar Johnson. Stephen Burton. Greg Childs would have been. He was injury prone, so I don't know if you really consider him.
Greg Childs never played it down.
Yeah. Moritz Boehringer.
Oh, the German kid.
Yep. So followed by the two receivers taken in 2016 were Laquan Treadwell and Moritz Boehringer.
Well, Laquan's still in the league.
And then Stacy Coley, Rodney Adams, Dylan Mitchell, ISM, Naylor. So I would say it's between Williamson. Williamson's probably the worst.
From that, yeah. Yeah, Williamson is.
So, I mean, a lot of guys didn't even make the team. So, and Williamson was a first round pick too.
Yeah, Williamson was the first round pick after. I mean, they traded Randy Moss.
Yeah. So you really can't, since the other guys really weren't first round picks, they were late round picks. So it's got to be. And
then he got into it with Brad Childress.
Yeah.
Which basically, when you hear the story, the first thing out of your mouth is Childress was in the wrong. So.
Oh, it doesn't surprise me.
No, not at all. Not with him.
So, yeah, I'm just going by how the list I have is broken down. So, tight ends. They didn't take a tight end in the draft until 1968. It was the first time they selected a tight end.
John Beasley?
Yeah, and they took him in the 9th round, I think.
I thought Beasley was picked in 67.
No, it was the first one they have listed here for a tight end. was Mike Donahoe. I think Beasley was taken as a wide receiver, right? He switched. Didn't we talk about Beasley earlier with receivers?
Then he got switched. Yeah.
So I think Beasley was drafted as receiver, then switched to tight end. Let me go to 68 real quick. Yeah, Beasley. Uh, John Beasley was selected as wide receiver, then switched to tight end. He was drafted in 67.
When did they draft Kent Kramer?
So 68 was Mike Donahoe. Then they took another one in 69 was Eugene Mosley.
He didn't even make the team.
70 was Stu Voigt.
Okay, Stu was a starter.
73, the guy never played, Dave Winfield.
No, never played it down.
King Ryder they also took in 73.
Oh, King's Ryder stayed with the team for about 4 years.
Yep. And then 74 was Steve Craig.
He stayed with the team for about 4 years too.
And then they didn't pick another one until 77 with Ken Moore.
Oh, he got cut.
And then 79 was Joe Sincer.
Yeah, if his knees stay healthy, he probably has a all-pro career.
81 was the next time, so they skipped a year. Brian Williams.
Yeah, he didn't make the team.
82 was Jordan.
The best tight end in team history, bar none.
83 was Norris Brown.
He was on IR all year.
Then they skipped a couple years, went to Carl Hinton.
Carl Hinton caught 5 passes and 4 of them were touchdowns.
And then 88 was Brad Beckman.
Don't think he made the team. I think he got cut.
89 was Daryl Ingram.
Yeah, he was. He spent a year or two with us. Caught 1 touchdown. That's all I remember.
And then 92 was Fisher.
Didn't
They haven't
make the
taken very many tight ends, by the way. This is probably the
No.
shortest list. Probably other than kicker and punter. 94 was Andrew Jordan.
team. He
Serviceable for a couple years.
He played with us for about 3-4 years.
Second best tight end ever, 1999, Clyde Saucer.
Now, see, Klein Saucer, I consider a fullback.
Okay.
I consider him a fullback because he spent more time at fullback than he did tight end. Matter of fact, when he played tight end, the first 2 passes he caught, he fumbled. That was in the Bears game. And then he did move him to, he was, I think of him, Jimmy, as a fullback.
Yeah, we all love Klein Saucer, no matter what position he played. So then Jeff Dugan.
He lasted for a few years.
And this guy, Mickey Schuler, I remember the talk about him before they drafted him.
Next. He didn't do anything.
Then the next year was Kyle Rudolph.
Okay.
Then Michael Pruitt.
Who I think is still in Atlanta.
I think he's still in the league.
Yeah, he's still in the league.
David Morgan, which
He was in the league up until a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Then Bucky Hodges, the guy from Virginia Tech, who said he was going to be the greatest tight end ever. Tyler Conklin, which
I like Conklin.
I think he plays for the Jets, right?
He's a Jet. Yep.
And then Irv Smith Jr., what a fucking bust.
Oh,
he was awful. Zach Davidson.
Never got a chance, really.
And the last tight end they drafted was Nick Muse. He's still on.
Who was the last one?
Nick Muse.
Who's playing fullback?
So far, it's got to be Irv Smith Jr.
The worst?
Yeah, because he actually played, and he was a second-round pick.
Yeah, he was pretty bad.
Because Bucky was a 6th-round pick. David Morgan was a 6th-round pick.
Well, you know what? And yeah, it's Irv Smith because Irv Smith was hyped to be that missing piece of tight end, and he just sucked.
Yeah, the only person who could be even considered close, would be Mike James because he was a 3rd-round pick, but he never did anything. Every other tight end that was taken second or high, even second and second round, they were
at least they were some sort of an extra tight end or a blocking back or something.
Yeah.
Smith couldn't get on the field. He was hurt all the time.
And then they beat the Eagles if he catches that damn pass on the sideline.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so
But you
the
can't block, so you need to catch, and if you can't
he was
catch, and you
he
can't
was
block, well, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing?
he was nothing like his dad. Let's just put that there. He's nothing like his dad.
Yeah,
Nothing at all. So the top three for me,
Glover was. I think Glover's underrated.
Glover came from the Raiders.
So
That's how we got Glover. We made a trade
yeah,
with the
was
Raiders.
that he was Danny Glover's nephew, right?
I have no idea.
I thought I heard that somewhere.
Yeah, I have no idea.
It's hard to. I mean, so I would say, well, if you consider Kleinsasser a fullback, then that means Jordan and then Rudolph, and then Stu Voigt, or would you have Voigt above Rudolph?
Uh, Jordan, Rudolph, Voigt. I was kind of hemming and hawing there between Joe Sensor, but Joe didn't play long enough. But Joe was
No,
good.
if he didn't get injured, who knows how he probably would be two.
Right. So yeah, Stu Voigt. Yeah, Stu Voigt.
And if you consider Kleinsasser a tight end, Kleinsasser has got to be two.
Kleinsasser's a fullback.
So Rudy wasn't always hurt. He was hurt, but he wasn't always hurt. He was just hurt a lot towards the end of his Vikings career. So
End of his career, he was hurt.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder if that had something to do with Kirk.
So, so then we have tackles.
Okay.
So there's a couple here that there's a lot of here that I've never heard of. So Bob Voigt, Ken Peterson, Jerry Mays, Don Sheehan,
Jerry Mays ended up with the Chiefs playing defensive end.
Paul Lindquist, Junior Hawthorne, John Contoulis, Contoulis,
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Russ, Roger Van Gleef, Marshall Shirk, Larry Bowie, Todd McIntyre,
Larry Bowie ended up playing guard.
Rex Murich, Dave O'Brien, Gary Kaltenbach, Bobby Bell, Jim
Bobby
Dunaway.
Bell ended up with the Chiefs playing linebacker.
Jim Dunaway, Milt Sund.
Milt
Best one
Sunday?
so far. Milt Sunday so far is the best one.
Sunday was a guard.
He was drafted as a tackle.
Yeah, but he was a guard. He ended up playing guard.
Carl Robinson, Monty Kiffin,
Yeah, the coach Monty Kiffin. That's him.
Wes Bryant, Paul Levitsky, Mike Tillerman, Jared Schweiger, Frank McClendon, Jim Harris, Archie Sutton, Larry Martin, Wilbur Ayler, Doug Davis, Jerry Shari,
Doug Davis did play. Jerry Shea played 1 year and got let go.
Don Evans. And then we have a top three. Then the next top three candidate is the next pick, Ranieri. Then John Ward, Burt Botow, Craig Darling.
Oh, Barbuto. He went to the U of M.
Buto.
Yeah.
Okay. Steve Riley. Riley was okay, I guess.
Yeah, he was serviceable.
But he was a first round pick though. So
Yeah, he was serviceable.
Jeff Stapleton, Harrow, Stephanopoulos, Tim Irwin. He was good.
He took over for Yuri.
Yep. Terry Tausch,
He ended up playing guard.
Tim Long,
Never played it down.
Gary Shippering,
Shipang spent his time on IR, injury reserve.
Bob Riley, Jeff Michael, John Hunter, Brady Pierce, Everett. Okay, so Everett Lindsey, Todd Stussy, Corey Stringer. That's a pretty good run of tackles right there.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Everett Lindsey switched to guard, but still.
Well, Everett Lindsey played every position. He was he did play tackle. His rookie year, he played tackle and he got hurt. But he played guard and he played center. He played every position, but he was primarily a tackle.
And then John Merrill, Matt Burke actually played tackle in college.
Yeah, we drafted him as a guard.
So,
We moved him to center when Christie went to the Buccaneers in 2000.
And then Jay Humphrey, Brian Crawford, and then Bryant McKinney,
Mm-hmm.
Nate Dorsey, Marcus Johnson, Phil Roholt, and then Matt Khalil, and then we get into, and that's pretty much. So Matt Khalil um, is on here.
Yeah,
So
that was the number one draft choice.
he was the number one draft choice, and then of course you got um, Christian Darrisaw. So yeah, he played tackle. Yeah, Matt Burke went to Harvard.
Burke went to Harvard. Yes,
Yeah.
Burke went to Harvard.
So it's got to be. Would you say like Ryan O'Neal, Darrisaw, Ron Yeri? Those have got to be like top 3 guys, don't you think?
Top 3: Yuri, Irwin, and I'm not counting guys that are still playing.
So Darrisaw hasn't been playing. Darrisaw hasn't been playing long enough to be considered.
No, it's. I'm gonna go with because we got so many years out of him. Yuri number 1, Irwin number 2, Riley number 3.
So you'd put them over McKinney?
Yes. McKinney was a bozo. All the talent in the world, but he was just a friggin' grade A bozo. How bad do you have to screw up to get kicked off the Pro Bowl team?
Yeah. Then Ezra Cleveland, but he's gone now. He was switched to guard.
And he played guard while he was here.
Drew Samir was drafted as a guard. Uli Udo wasn't bad.
He played mostly as a guard, though. And we also have to remember anybody that was drafted during Zimmer's time usually played out of position.
I got a candidate for one of the worst.
Who?
Well, there's actually a couple of them. You got Willie Beavers, TJ Clemmings. How about this? 2015. How's this for tackles? TJ Clemmings, Tyrus Thompson, Austin Shepard.
I'm not even going to get on TJ Clemmings because guess what? He was only playing offensive tackle for a year before he got picked. So he was still learning on the job.
Yeah.
So
pretty much since Matt Khalil, which was 2012,
mm-hmm.
The ones I just mentioned are the only tackles they've taken.
Yeah. Yep. They moved. Clemmings was a defensive tackle in college, and they moved him over to the other side of the ball.
Yeah.
That's that Tony Sparano way of coaching. That's what they went with, and they wanted all their linemen to play every position, and look what it got us. So.
And then it's weird. This one graphic I'm looking at is like they have the receivers and tight ends all the way up to 2023, but for some reason for tackles they stopped at 2013.
I don't think we've really drafted anybody.
Not since Matt Khalil. Since Matt Khalil, it's been TJ Clemmings, Tyrus Thompson, Austin Shepard, O'Neal,
and Darrisaw.
Darrisaw and Willie Beavers is pretty much it.
Yep.
So, Uli Udo, but he played guard, but yeah. So, yeah. So then, for some reason, they got safety listed next, but it's just weird. This is formatted, so it's really.
What are you looking at?
It's really weird. It's a link I got from Pro Football Focus, but I don't think Pro Football Focus actually did it.
Pro Football Focus misses a lot of players too.
Not Focus, sorry, Pro Football Reference.
They miss a lot of players.
Yeah,
they don't even have a lot of the stuff that they should have on there.
Yeah, so So these are the what are these? Yeah, so they got defensive back, cornerbacks.
Do they got centers?
So I don't know what position B is. Dave Osborne's a tight end. Why is he listed as B? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they got, but it's only since 2000. It looks like. Oh wait, no, no. It looks like they get the full list. Okay, so 68. Howie Small,
Never made the team.
Tommy Head,
Never made the team.
Godfrey's Allbreaker.
He did make the team. Never played it. He did play in some games. I seen him in some highlight reels, but
Well, none of these guys played because Tinglehoff was slaying it.
yeah,
Benny Fry, Scott Anderson,
Scott
Jim
Anderson had issues off the field.
Huff, John Huff, or
Oh,
Hugh,
Jim Huff. He
Uh,
moved. He ended up playing guard.
Dave Hoffman,
Huffman he played all the positions. R.I.P.
uh, Brent Boyd, uh,
They got Brent Boyd at center.
yeah,
He was a friggin' guard.
Walter Tate,
He got cut.
my guy Kurt Loudermilk
Yeah.
ended up playing for the Colts. Chris Tomey, Mike Milano,
Wait. Chris Tomey from the University of Minnesota.
no, San Diego State. Chris Tomey, yeah, University of Minnesota.
He was a guard. He was not a center.
So
What the hell?
maybe did he play center?
He never played center. He was always a guard, even in high school, because he went to high school in St. Paul at St. Thomas Academy. He never played center.
And then Mike Milano, and then Brian Cook was awful.
Yeah, we moved him to tackle.
John Sullivan.
Sullivan was good. I think
Yeah.
back injuries got to him.
And then Brandon Fusco was okay.
They moved him to guard.
Pat Efline and then Garrett Bradbury. So they've totally missed their last two centers.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? The greatest one we had, the greatest center we had was not even drafted. So
Yeah, Andre, he was one of the bomb drafted free agents that the Vikings had at the top, turned into a Hall of Famer.
yeah. So I mean,
So of the ones drafted, it's got to be what
Loudermilk
or Burke, right?
or who?
Matt Burke, even though it says he was tackle, but because he did play tackle at Harvard, but so the ones that are quote unquote drafted, we all know Mick Tinkoff's the greatest center ever to play, but he was, like I said, undrafted.
So then it would be Burke,
Sullivan,
Loudermilk, John Sullivan.
yeah. So Kurt Loudermilk and Sullivan, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. You missed the guards.
Well, no, I'm just going by how they have it set up here. I said it was set up weird. Like they got cornerbacks set up next, and then defensive ends and defensive tackles, and then whatever. What the hell do they have?
Ends.
Whatever. What was Rich Kotite?
Wide receiver.
So maybe they meant split ends for the offense.
That's what it probably meant, split ends and flankers.
Yeah. So guards, okay. So guards is after split ends. So, God, this list is disgusting. Oh my God, makes me want to puke. So, right away, the first guard has got to be a top selection for top 3 or top 4, top 5. Roy Winston.
Who?
Roy Winston.
Roy Winston played linebacker.
So
Wait,
hey, I didn't say.
are you serious?
I didn't say he was.
Oh my God!
I didn't say that he was a great guard. I just said, Roy Winston is a great player.
They don't even got him on the right side of the ball.
See the reason I didn't use the reason I didn't use Pro Football Focus is because Pro Football Reference is because they don't have it broken down by position. They just have drafts, like 61 to last year.
You'd have been better off just going with the draft because they'd have broke down these positions and they suck at it.
So it was a link for Pro Football Reference, so I thought it'd be good.
Oh my god!
I did proofread it, but it was only the receivers that I proofread, and I thought the receivers at least they had.
I'll tell you what, that site. If I could, I send them an email, tell them you're all fucking drunk because you don't know your damn fucking positions. Jeez, Roy Winston never played a down on offense with the Vikings.
So man, they had a lot of picks in 61. Holy cow!
Oh yeah, there was like 20 picks.
Yeah. So for guard, Ken Peterson was their first. Actually, he was actually their first guard selected, but I think he played 12 games. So
yeah, he did. He saw action.
Yeah, Larry Bowie.
Okay, Larry Bowie stayed with the team for like 8 years.
And then they didn't take a guard the next year. And then Matt Milt. Even Pro Football Reference themselves. They have Milt. They got Milt Sunday listed as a guard.
Yeah, he was a guard. He played tackle at the U, but he was a guard. He played guard.
Oh, he was actually the last pick of the 64 draft. How about HOSS? I've never heard of that.
What do you mean?
It doesn't even have a school listed.
What does it say?
HOSS.
Who's the player?
That's the player.
The player's name was Haas?
H. It was obviously it's hyphenated, so it's H.O.S. ETSTS.
Oh, the school.
So and it has no player listed. So either the player's missing or the school's missing. Is that a school?
God only knows.
It says It says round 11, 1964 draft, round 11, pick 146, HOSS.
I don't know.
So,
I'll look it up later and see what the hell it's all about.
And then so then no guards were taken in 65. 66, no guards. Fred Kramer, 67. Bill Morris, 67. Let's see. Bill Hall, 68. All these guards were taken late too, like Tom Fink. Ed White was taken in the first round, 69.
Second rounder, yeah, and he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he was the first pick they had that year.
Yeah, he should be in the Hall of Fame. And keep in mind, he played defensive tackle in college, but he ended up playing guard in the NFL.
And then Mike Carroll, who did not play any games at all, and then Jim Ward was taken in the first round the next year as well.
Oh, John Ward?
Yeah, they have Jim here.
Yeah, he was
probably a typo with Pro Football Reference. It's probably
you know what? There's probably a bunch of idiots who don't know their football. It's John Ward. He played defensive end and guard. So we had him playing 2 or 3 positions: D end, D tackle, and guard. He was an athlete. He could play. Injuries in his career too.
So no guards taken in 71. Mike Sievert, Sivert.
And next.
He didn't play any games. Charles Goodrum.
He played guard and tackle. He was serviceable for years, RIP.
Ron Just, no games.
Next.
He was the only one taken 73. 74, no guards were taken. 75, no guard. One guard, John Passanati. He didn't play at all. And then Wes Hamilton taken in 76.
Wes played for years. He played for years. He took over for Ed White when Ed White got traded.
Says he played 76 to 84.
Yeah. Technically, he never played it down in 85. He spent 85 on IR, and then I believe he retired after 85. But yeah, he was a starter. He took over for Ed White when Ed White got traded.
Okay, then 77, they only had 12 picks. They only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, They only had 8 picks, so they didn't take a guard.
Mm-hmm.
78, John Huff was
Jim
taken.
Huff, yeah, he ended up starting.
That was my fault. I said John instead of Jim. Jim Huff, yeah.
Yeah, he ended up starting. So he was also a long snapper.
Because I was looking at John Turner when I said Huff. So yeah. So
Yeah.
that was 80. He played to 86.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Huffman, 79.
He played all the positions on the old line. So
He
yeah,
played in 1990.
yeah, he was serviceable. R.I.P. again.
Brent Boyd.
He was Brent Boyd looked like he was going to be an All-Pro, and then he suffered a knee injury in practice, and he was never the same after.
And then 82, Curtis Rouse played.
Yep,
He
Boo
played
Boo.
five. He played 5 games.
He played tackle and guard. R.I.P. He's
Terry
gone.
Tausch.
Terry Tausch was a starter in the 80s. He played next to Tim Irwin. He's also R.I.P.
Yeah, he played from 82 to 89.
Yeah, he got a ring with the Niners.
Brian Butcher didn't play.
Mm-mm.
He was the only guard taken in 83. Lloyd Lewis was taken in 84, didn't play. 85 does not look like they took a guard. Oh yeah,
Mark McDonald. They took Mike McDonald.
Mark McDonald. Yeah, Mark McDonald. Yep.
They took Mark McDonald. He did play, and then he suffered injuries.
Yeah, he played 3 years.
Yeah, and then he suffered a knee injury.
And then 86, no guards. 87, no guards. 88, they took Brian Habib, who played tackle.
88, they got Randall McDaniel too.
And they got Todd Cal. I'm going from bottom to top. So I'm going from the last pick to the top pick. So they got Brian Habib, Todd Kalis, and Randall McDaniel. That's a pretty good guard draft right there.
Well, Brian Habib came in as a defensive tackle. We moved him to guard.
Yeah. Then he also went to the Broncos and won a Super Bowl along with Gary Zimmerman.
Yep.
Then, like I said, Todd Kalis played from 88 to 95.
Mm-hmm.
And then Randall McDaniel, Hall of Famer, of course.
Yep.
And then after that draft, they probably didn't take a guard for a couple of years. So that
no, because you had, that offensive line stayed together for a few years before free agency hit them.
So from 88 to 93, they did not take a guard.
Yep.
So 93, they took John Garrick.
Yeah, he played with us for years, but they moved him from guard to tight end to fullback, back to guard. They couldn't find a position for him.
And then 94, no guard. 95, no guard. 96, the only guard they took didn't play, John Merrill.
Yeah, he didn't make the team.
97, no guard. 98, no guard. 99, no guard. No guard in 2000. So Edward Tuamu was from Utah. They took him.
Oh, Teamu. Yeah, he didn't make the team.
Yeah, they took him in 2002. Then so 2002 to 2002. Nope. 2000. So from 2002 to after 2002, they didn't take another guard until 2009. And God, I remember. Oh man, this Christy Greer. Oh man.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. So I can see they stopped taking guards because they weren't very good at it.
Yeah.
And then Jeff Baca, he was okay.
He sucked.
He was a backup, so he was okay for a back. Well, he was also a 6th-round pick. So and then Travis Bond, he didn't play at all.
He didn't play at all.
Yeah. So the farther I go up, the closer we get to modern days, the worse they get.
Yeah. And it didn't help that the coaching staff didn't know how to pick him.
Danny Isidore,
who's still in the league, I believe.
2017. And then Kobe Gossett. Jesus. What? Toby Gossett. Man, what? Drew Samia. Oh, my God. Kyle Hitton. Jesus Freaking A. No wonder why this team's offensive line.
Yeah, besides coaching, Jesus.
Wyatt Davis. Oh my God.
And I thought Wyatt Davis was going to make it.
It's pretty sad when Ed Ingram is the best guard you've taken in the last 10 to 15 years.
And that ain't saying
That
much.
is pathetic.
And that's not saying much. It's
Oh my God.
that's bad. So I mean, if
Oh,
the best, of course, is Randall McDaniel.
yes.
So my top three for guard would be McDaniel, White. Right now, McDaniel and White. I don't know who the third one would be.
Yeah, because most of the guards they got that were really good were free agents.
Yeah. So right now, I'm just gonna say Randall McDaniel and Ed White. Maybe throw Kalis in there.
Because like we said, Habib was more of a tackle.
Habib was a tackle, a defensive tackle at that.
Yeah.
But he did play guard, but he was switching time with Terry Tausch. So,
God, the guard history. We think the Vikings guard history is good because of Randall McDaniel.
You know what? I'm gonna go Wes Hamilton because he played the longest.
Yeah.
I'll go Wes. So I got Randall McDaniel, Ed White, Wes Hamilton.
And this is one of those positions where like the best is way up here, and then everybody else is.
Oh, and there's a drastic drop off after the best. I mean,
yeah.
My God, it's drastic.
He actually was Randall McDaniel the guy. He actually invented the visor, right? The helmet visor. He was the first player to wear one, right?
Yeah. No. First one to wear one actually was Mark Mulaney. Mulaney got poked in the eye, and he wore a visor. David Chains, Greg Cook was a Packer first. Yeah, Mulaney was the one he wore the clear visor, and then he wore a tinted visor. And then Randall came in, and he had a visor right away too. So, but yeah, that whole visor thing started in Minnesota. Started with the Vikings.
And then they've actually picked people in supplemental draft. 84 was the biggest year for that. So, did you want to do running backs or tight ends next?
We did tight ends.
No, sorry, running backs or quarterbacks. Sorry.
Let's do quarterback. Let's do running backs first.
Okay. So obviously, Tommy Mason, and so he's probably top 10. Be hard to put him because he played from 61 to 71, but he didn't finish his career in Minnesota.
He finished his career with the Redskins.
All right. So they also took somebody else in that draft, but he didn't play at all. Ted Karpowitz.
Next.
Yeah. Gary Fallon, Paul White, either one of those guys played. 63 draft. They just have guys' names listed because from pick 14 to pick 20 and those rounds, none of the guys played except for Rex. Let's see. So Russ Fulmer, Tom McMichael, they were taken 64. But they didn't have to because the Vikings were pretty good at running back.
Yeah, Mason and Bill Brown.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's see. Monroe Beer didn't play at all. Boom. A lot of gaps between running backs being drafted. And then, see, Larry Snow, Charlie Wet. See here they have Oscar Reed, running back / wide receiver.
Okay.
So that makes a little bit more sense. So Oscar Reed. So from doing this show, the one thing that we figured out is Oscar Reed's underrated.
Oh, I knew that when he played. I knew that when he played. He was. I mean, he wasn't flashy or nothing, but he got the job done.
Yeah.
You know.
And
What
then,
year did they draft Dave Osborne? 65?
Well, 60. Dave Osborne was 13th round, 65.
Okay. And he took over for Tommy Mason. Tommy Mason had knee injuries. That's why Tommy Mason didn't stay with the team.
Osborne played from 65 to 76.
Yep. 1 year with the Packers.
Then, like I said, Hugh Wright didn't play.
I think Red Phillips was a wide receiver, Davey.
What year was Red Phillips drafted?
He's in the 60s. 65, I think. 64 or 65.
So I'm looking at 65. I don't see her. You said Red Phillips, like the color red?
Yeah.
So I don't see him at 64 or 65.
He wasn't part of a trade, was he?
He might have been. I'm not seeing him because I'm already down to 62 and I'm not seeing him.
Yeah, I think he was a wide receiver, though, Davey.
Yeah, okay. So, all right, so where was I? I think I was 70, right?
You're at 66 to 70.
All right, so 60. So 68 was.
Oscar was 68.
Yeah. So Oscar. All right, so 69, Wendell Housley.
Never made the team.
Cornelius Davis.
Never made the team.
And then 70, Greg James.
Oh, we forgot
Greg
we
Jones.
forgot all about Clint Jones in 67.
Did he even? Is he even?
Clint Jones made the team. Trust me.
Why did I miss that? He was the first pick, first round.
Yeah, he was the first
They
pick.
had three first round picks in 67.
Yep.
Clint Jones, Gene Washington, and Alan Page. 2 from Michigan State, 1 from Notre Dame.
Yeah, they both played in that 10-10 tie game.
Oh, you know why I missed Gene Clint Jones because I was looking for my place. So 69, 70.
Yes, he did, Davey. He rushed for either 976 or 972 in 67.
Vince Clements, 71.
Oh, God. And this 71 was Vince Clements and Leo Hayden. Neither one of them played it down with the Vikings. Leo Hayden's the bust.
Well, it says Leo Hayden played 13 games in his career, but I don't know.
Not with the Vikings. He played them with the Cardinals.
13 games, 11 yards.
Yeah, he played with the Cardinals. He didn't play with the Vikings. He didn't play it down with the Vikings.
He said he played 71. They both played 71 to 73.
Right. Clemens was part of the trade to get Tarkenton back. Vince Clemens got shipped to the Giants.
He only had at least he had a 435 yards.
Who, Clemens?
Yeah, 400 for in his career, 435 yards.
Oh, God. Jesus.
That's pathetic.
That's bad.
Then Franklin Roberts, and then Willie Aldridge. They took, and then Ed Marinero. We all know he had.
Marinero was decent. He had his moments.
72 to 77.
Yeah, he spent his last year with the Jets.
Then Chandler didn't play. So basically, the 73 draft, the second pick of round 6, all the way down to pick 17, only one guy played, and that's Dave Mason, the defensive back. Everybody else didn't play.
Wait, what year did they draft McClanahan?
I was getting to that because I was because round six, like I said, going from the bottom to the up. So 73, the second pick, which was Fred Abbott, all the way down. Nobody played. No one made the team except for Dave Mason, who he played 2 years. Uh, that's the thing. They they took King Ryder. The first six picks though. You got Doug King Ryder. You got Brett McCallahan, and then you have Chuck Foreman.
Okay.
And then they took a running back. We didn't play the next year. John Goble and Fred Torban. Neither one of those.
Neither one of
Gary
them
Reed,
good.
Alan Dixon. They took like five running backs. None of them played. Yeah. Then 75. Robert Miller.
He stuck around for about 5 years.
Yeah. And
He
then
was serviceable.
Ron Grokey, 76.
Ron Gross, he went to a local college here,
Yeah.
McAllister.
What was
I
it?
think he spent like a year with us.
McAllister.
Yeah, McAllister.
Right. And then, yeah, Ken Barnetta. He didn't play. And then Jim, 77. They only took one. Jim Calher. He didn't play.
Mm-mm.
They took two more the next year. Ron Harris, Hugh Shaw. Neither one of them played.
Ron Harris was one of the final cuts. They thought he was going to make the team, but he got cut.
And then Tim Brown, 79. Ted
Oh,
Brown,
yeah.
sorry.
Teddy. Yeah, Ted Brown.
And then Sam Harrell. He lasted 7 seasons in the NFL. Sam Harrell.
No, he spent most of his time in the USFL.
And then Dennis Mosley, Paul Jones. Neither one of those guys played.
Paul Jones had a career-ending neck injury, couldn't play. Dennis Mosley came from Iowa. He got cut. He was one of the first cuts. I remember him.
Then Don Shaver didn't play. Jerry's Redwine had.
Jarvis Redwine was a kick returner, and then he didn't. He only lasted like 3 years.
Hobson Miller. And then Darren Nelson in 82.
Injuries and holdouts, and he was part of the Herschel Walker trade. Dropped the pass at the goal line in the 87 championship. So
Maurice Turner, Mark Rush.
Maurice spent some years with us. Rush went to the USFL.
Mike Jones, sorry. Then you have Alan Rice and Alfred Anderson.
They were both good. They were actually pretty decent.
Yeah, I love Alfred Anderson.
Yep. Yeah, they were both pretty. And Alan Rice was a quarterback at Baylor, so we moved him to running back. So
yeah, we got the backfield from Baylor.
Yeah.
Alfred Anderson, Alan Rice. And then Jamie Covington in 85.
Never made it.
Thomas Brooks.
Never made it. He was from Illinois.
87 first round pick.
Oh, God, DJ Dozier.
And then Rick Finney was taken in 87.
Finney was good.
Say what you want about Rick Finney, but that game against the Bengals on that Christmas Eve game when Nova Scotia caught the touchdown, Rick Finney ran his ass off in that game.
Yeah, Finney. I like Finney.
Yeah.
I like Finney.
And then nobody. Let me double check. Nobody taken in 88. Brad Baxter in 89.
Yeah, he was.
I actually remember that name, but he didn't.
He didn't do anything. He did more with the Jets. He played with the Jets.
Yeah. And then 1990 was Terry Allen.
He was good. He was good.
Then Jared Hudson in 91. Randy Baldwin, 91.
Baldwin ended up in Cleveland.
Charles Evans was the 11th round pick in 92.
R.I.P. Chuck Evans.
Mike Gaddis didn't do anything. I think he didn't make the team. Robert Smith in 93.
Okay. Yep.
And then I'm assuming they probably went James Stewart 95.
He would have been okay if he had just could avoid the injuries.
Mo Williams 96. See, we're actually getting good running backs now.
And Mo left for like a year or two and came back.
They went to Denver, right?
Baltimore, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like I said, they went a couple years. Doug Chapman. Oh God, I remember all the hype around Doug Chapman coming out.
Chapman was the one they were hyping the hell out of him, and he never. I don't know what it was. He never came to fruition.
And then Michael Bennett, 2001.
Yep.
And then Noel Moore.
I mean, well, he was good. He was good.
Some say he was better with Pittsburgh, but I think he was good for both teams.
He was good for both teams.
Yeah. Seatric, get your game face on.
He lasted a year.
Yeah, 2005 to 2008, but I think he was only with Minnesota for a year.
Yeah.
And then Adrian Peterson in 07. And then Toby Gerhardt is probably the biggest bust.
No, you know what though? I mean, he's not the biggest bust because he actually looked pretty decent when he played. So he's not.
Leo Hayden, that's right. Leo Hayden is probably
Leo Hayden is the bust.
Yeah, of all we did that before. He's the biggest stuff. That's right. He's the biggest.
Yeah, Leo Hayden is the bust. There's no getting around that. It's Leo Hayden.
So it looks like Rhett Ellison was a running back and they converted him to tight end.
Yeah, he was a fullback tight end.
And then, so we had Adrian Peterson, so they're not taking very many running backs after him. Jarek McKinnon,
who was decent, still playing.
Yep, got a couple of rings.
Yeah, he's still playing.
Used to be a Viking, now plays for the team. Won a ring, guys.
Yeah. So the top three for me.
And then we got a couple more here. Dalvin Cook in 2017.
Yeah.
I think.
And then Madison.
Alexander Madison in 2019. See 20. Yes, 2021. Kenny Wangu was 2021.
He's still playing.
And then Dwayne McBride was the last one.
Yeah, he can't get on the field because they won't play him. Top three: AP, Robert Smith, Chuck Foreman.
So you would put Robert Smith and Chuck Foreman ahead. I'm sorry, you'd put Adrian Peterson and Robert Smith ahead of Chuck Foreman.
Actually, for me, the all-time, as far as I'm concerned, because Chuck Foreman did everything, I would put Chuck Foreman number one, AP number two, because he couldn't catch worth a damn. And Robert Smith would be number three.
I can see an argument for people putting Adrian Peterson one because of where he ranks all-time ranking.
Yeah.
Chuck Foreman didn't get hurt.
Here's the deal. Adrian Peterson was a top running back in an era of throwing the football.
Yes.
Could Adrian have played back in the day when it was predominantly a run-first league? Maybe. Who knows? He ran with a style that he could probably have made it. But, I mean, Chuck back then could not only run the ball, he could also catch the ball.
And Robert Smith was just a different cat in general.
And Robert Smith was a track guy playing football, but Robert could play. He could play. Once he got over the injury bug, So yeah, they would be my top three, and then the bust would be Leo Hayden. There's no questions asked. Is Leo Hayden by far?
Yeah, I think in a prior show we did earlier, we pretty much said that he was the biggest bust the Vikings have ever had. The Vikings haven't had two too many egregious busts, but he is probably the biggest one.
Oh, they've had a few.
Well, yeah. Well, I think
We got a couple. We got a couple coming up.
Well, we did top. I think we did top 10 busts of all time. We had a hard. Once we got like around after 6, I think we had a hard time finding the really bad ones. But they do have top 5 busts that are really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Oh yeah, the Wizinator with Ontario Smith.
You got to do what you got to do to get by the band.
I still don't remember. I still can't figure that one out.
And let's finish off the offense with the position that we need in this year's draft more than anything else.
Okay, no questions asked. Top 3. Fran Tarkenton, Dante Culpepper, Tommy Kramer. The bust that the Vikings drafted as a quarterback, Christian Ponder.
So 67, so 61, they took McFarland, did not play.
Never laid it down.
And then that was the only quarterback they took in 61. Oh, wait, no, they took Fran Tarkenton in the 3rd round. Sorry.
Yeah, Tarkenton was 3rd.
Yeah. So Tarkenton, I think everybody agrees he's the greatest in Vikings history. It's not even close. 62, they didn't take a quarterback. 63, they probably didn't take one either.
Ron Vander Kellen.
So, I think was he 63 or 62? 64.
Didn't they draft Bob Berry?
Are you sure they drafted?
Vander Kellen came from Wisconsin in 63. I think they drafted him.
Yeah, 62. He's not showing up in the 63 draft.
Hey.
Yeah, there's no quarterback listed. 63 draft.
Are you looking at the whole draft?
Mm-hmm. Jim Donaway, Bobby Bell, Ray Pogue, Paul Flatley, Gary Crattenburg, Jim O'Malley, Bob Hoover, Terry Cornish, John Campbell, John Skolpan, Dave O'Brien, Ralph Pharisee, John Morrow, Rex Mitch, Todd Muncie, Todd McIntyre, Frank Kovath, and Malton King.
So Vander Kellen wasn't drafted. Okay.
So that's 63.
Okay.
Let me check 64 just to make sure. He's not listed under 64 either.
Where's Bob Berry?
Right now I am on 65. So maybe they didn't draft him. Let's see, no quarterback taking. So no quarterback taken in 67 either. Jim Haney, Bob Lee was taken in 68.
Okay.
Jim Haney was taken before him. And then Brian Dowley was 69.
Bob, what's his name? Bob Berry was here first with the Vikings before we traded him to Atlanta.
Yeah.
But he was a Viking first.
Bill Kappelman, 70. The Vikings have not taken very many quarterbacks. Neil Graff in 72.
He ended up in Seattle.
Mike Wells in 873.
He never played it down.
74. No, 75. 75. Salmon didn't play. 77. Kramer. Then 78. Nobody. 79. Steve Dills.
Yep.
Nobody in 80. Wade Wilson in 81. Nope, so 80, so 84, so 81 they took a quarterback. They took Steve Bono in 85.
Yeah, Bono spent, and his best years were with the Chiefs and with the Niners.
Yep. Brent Peace 87.
Yeah, they also got Rich Gannon that year as a free agent.
Yeah. And then like I said, it's slim pickings for the quarterback, guys. This goes to the Vikings' history of quarterback position. Most of the good quarterbacks the Vikings have had have been free agent signings.
Yeah, we got Brad Johnson. Brad Johnson, 92.
Yep, Brad Johnson, 92. I'm going up. Gino Toretta, 93.
Never played it down.
The 94. Chad May.
Never played it down.
And then, let's see. Todd Bauman must have been an unsigned free agent.
Bauman was a free agent.
Dante, 99. Yeah. So actually, after Dante in 99, I think Ponder's the next quarterback taken.
No, Tavares.
Tavares Jack in 26.
Tavares drafted.
Yeah.
Was drafted
2006.
by Texas.
Yeah. And then Tyler Thigpen taken the next year. And then Don David Booty.
Never
I
played
remember
it
the
down.
hype. Remember the hype around him? That dude never played. Oh man, this is awful. Ponder. 2011.
The reason I say Ponder is the worst over Jackson is because Ponder was shoved down our throats.
And Ponder was a first round pick. Jackson was a third.
Yeah, Ponder was a first round pick. And I mean, they told us point blank, Christian Ponder gives us the best chance to win.
Well, that year he did because McNabb threw word burners.
They told us that even when they got Freeman and guys like that, it's like you could look and tell he wasn't the answer.
Yeah. Then Teddy Bridgewater, 2014. Love you, Teddy. Wish your career would have worked out, buddy.
Yeah, Teddy, I can't even rank Teddy because we don't know because of the injury.
Yeah. And then after Teddy, didn't take a quarterback. Took Nate Staley in 2020. And then Kellen Mond, 2021.
He never played it down with us, so I don't even consider him.
And then Jaron Hall last year. So the quarterback position is pretty cut and dry.
It's simple. It's Tarkenton, Culpepper, Kramer.
Or some people could have Kramer than Culpepper. But the top three are the top three.
Yeah, Tarkenton, Culpepper, Kramer. You can flip-flop Kramer and Culpepper. The bust is Ponder.
Well, see, Young, I kind of agree with you because Ponder did show flashes of being a good quarterback. I just think everything that went on around him.
Well, the worst match also, you had who was our offensive coordinator? Was it Musgrave? Bill Musgrave was our offensive coordinator.
But guys, they said that Ponder gave us the best chance to win, but remember, he wasn't supposed to play.
No, it was supposed to be McNabb.
Donovan McNabb was supposed to play that year, and Grubel and Christian Ponder was supposed to sit a year to learn. But he was. So I don't blame Ponder 1,000% of his own volition of being hurt, of being a bust. I just think it didn't work out because he was thrust into action before he needed to be because McNabb was throwing worm burners.
You had EP too, so
yeah. So, but here's the thing, though: did they win that playoff game if he starts instead of Joe Webb?
It's probably you know what? Green Bay only won by 14, 2 touchdowns.
Yes.
Well, it's probably closer with Ponder. And he had just played him the week before, and that was his best game as a Viking. I think the best game of his career.
Because remember, the Vikings needed to go on a run to make the playoffs, and Christian Ponder led them on that run because McNabb was so bad that when Ponder took over, he needed to play well.
Young, the only person that took away Harvin was Harvin. He didn't like Ponder.
Yeah.
He got into it. I think didn't he throw a weight at one of the coaches?
He threw something at one of the coaches. I'm not sure what it was.
He threw a weight. He threw a weight at one of the coaches. So that kind of did it. And then he did not like Christian Ponder. So
I don't think Darnold is going to be as bad as people think he is, but he's not the future.
No. And actually, going back to Harvin was about to be he was going to be that kind of running, catching, returning. He was going to be that jack of all trades player. He already was. He returned kicks. He even ran the ball. He caught the ball. He was going to be that player, but his attitude changed it. So
the Vikings didn't have great receivers, but they had above
average. He was their only dependable receiver.
Yeah.
The only person playing opposite him was Jerome Simpson.
5-head.
Yeah. So,
So the receiver position is pretty cut and dried who the best is, even though the top three are the top three. There's a gap between Tarkenton and Culpepper or Cranberry, whoever you want to put there. Guard, by far and away, there's a huge gap between the top guy and everybody else. Running back is probably the closest. You can interchange the top three. There's an argument for tight end, not even close. Jordan's by far and away the best ever. And then receiver Moss is by far the best. And Williamson, the guy who replaced him, has got to be the worst.
Oh, wide receiver?
Yeah. Because I don't think we gave our worst receiver draft picks.
Oh, it's Williamson.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Troy Williamson.
They would not have been good in 98 if Ponder was the quarterback, but yes, he would have been better. Hell, Tony would have been a good quarterback.
I could have played with that team in 98. Anybody could have played with that team in 98.
Yeah, that team was stacked.
That team was stacked.
Team's built like my wife, stacked.
So now we get to the other side of the ball. So here's where you don't have to look at that list. I'll tell you who it is right now, because this is my specialty, defense.
Well, I don't think we need to get into the kicker and punter.
Who cares? They're not athletes. Next.
Right. So we can get rid of those. So we don't have to talk about those two. I see, George. We didn't draft Kirk Cousins though, so that's why he's not part of this conversation. Because if you look at the all-time quarterback list,
why are we talking about him? We're not supposed to be talking about him.
Some of the guys who are on the Vikings quarterback all-time list were not drafted.
Mm-hmm.
See, the problem, I think I know what you're talking about, George, about not having help. The problem is Kirk Cousins is a way more talented quarterback than Ponder could ever dream of being. And that's what's that's the whole frustrating. Well, we don't have to worry about it no more, but that was the whole. Now the Falcons and Trisha got to worry about it. That's the whole frustrating thing about Kirk Cousins is that he's good enough, but he doesn't perform up to his level, I guess you could say. So, well, O-line was Vikings O-line is, yeah, I mean, but George, come on, man, we love you, man. I'm doing, like I said, Tony doesn't do anything. Tony just brings his mind. So I'm doing the comments and looking at the list and stuff like that. So Tony will. I'm not
talking about the former quarterback. I don't mention him. He's not on the team anymore. I'm F him. I don't care. He's gone. Goodbye. Good riddance. See you. Wouldn't want to be you. Except I would like the money he gets, but
yeah, we're not putting Kirk Cousins in the top three of all-time quarterbacks. No.
And he wasn't drafted.
Right, and those quarterbacks that were drafted, oh,
turned out to be the best coach.
Monty Kiffin.
Yeah. It had to be. Well, Rich Kotite was a head coach too.
Monty Kiffin.
Monty Kiffin, yeah. Monty Kiffin.
He may have been a head coach. He was not very good.
He was not as good as a player, but he was a damn good defensive coach.
Yeah.
Thanks to Tony Dungy. But and Dungy was drafted by the Steelers. So
Yeah.
It's got to be Monty Kiffin. I can't think of anybody else that was. Jack Del Rio was a Cowboy.
Yeah, he wasn't drafted by Minnesota.
He wasn't drafted by the Vikings. We got him in Plan B free agency. He was drafted.
What the best player personnel developer that used to be a former player, the best ever, was Scott Studwell.
Oh, he was a scouting.
Yeah,
college scouting.
But he was also wasn't his title scouting player personnel?
He ran a scouting department, player personnel scouting department.
Yeah.
So he did that. I mean, we haven't been the same since he retired.
No.
So he went to the front office. Yeah, Monty Kiffin's probably the best that's became.
Tomlinson wasn't drafted by them. But if we're talking players, people that were drafted as a player by the Vikings who became a coach, Monty Kiffin is probably the best one.
Yep. So should we get to the part of the team that counts the most, the defense?
What position do you want to start
with? Did they break it down by defensive ends?
I switched to Pro Football Reference. It's year by year.
Okay.
So they have it listed as DBs, and they have linebackers, defensive ends, and defensive tackles is how they have it listed.
Okay, so I'm going to put this for defensive ends.
Okay.
That we've drafted the top 3. Number 1, Carl Eller. Number 2 is going to be Chris Dolman, although he was drafted as a linebacker. But his best years were as a defensive end, so he's number 2. Number 3.
That's where it gets tough because there's been so many good ones.
Well, between Eller and Dolman, there was a drop off. God, there was Randy Holloway, there was Mark Mulaney.
So in 1984, the supplemental draft, they took Robert Smith. It says he played 16 games.
He did play 16 games. He did.
And then, so starting in 61, defensive ends, Jerry Mays.
Mays ended up in Kansas City.
And then 62, Larry Gulliford. It just says end, so I don't know if that means split end or defensive end. Ron Staley, he's a 62. Neither one of these guys played. Let's see.
Yeah, exactly, Young. The greatest one was Jim Marshall, and we can't claim him because he came from Cleveland.
Carl Eller was a 64.
Eller was 64. I'll tell you what, the third one,
Max Let's Grove. He played 65 to 66, but he played 28 games, but he had 5 sacks.
Okay, drafted. I'm going to say something. It could be between. I'm going to say it right now. Everson, Hunter.
There's a lot of space because I guess when you have Carl Eller and Alan Page on your team, you're not drafting defensive ends. So there's a huge gap between drafting defensive ends.
Allen came from Kansas City in a trade, Young Gamer. He came from Kansas City. I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna go with since he's out of football now. I'm gonna go with Griffin. I'm gonna go with Griff as the third. Hell, you could even put Brian Robinson in there.
They drafted some defensive ends, uh, but they didn't make the team.
Okay, Al Noga was a defensive tackle, people, and they moved him to
Yeah.
defensive end.
Dave Boone.
John Randall was a defensive end free agent, and they moved him to defensive tackle.
Well, Keith Millard played some in too, but he was a citizen tackle.
His best years were as a tackle, but he was drafted as a defensive end.
Mark Mullaney was 75. So pretty much after they got Marshall and Eller, they drafted defensive ends, but none of them make the team. And there was like 5 or 6 years in a row where they didn't draft a defensive end.
Right.
So after Mullaney, which was 70, Mullaney was what, 75? So
yeah, Mullaney, he played for years, but he was injured a lot later on.
Holloway was 78.
Holloway had substance abuse problems. Doug Martin was 1980. He was good, but holdouts and injuries ended his career.
Yeah.
Harold Robinson only played 1 year, 2 years.
So 80.
So yeah, it's
God, there's like years in between taking defensive ends, like 4 or 5 years. Like they'll take like 2 or 3, and then they'll skip 5 or 6 years before they take another defensive end.
Right.
And then a lot of the ones they take did not even play it down.
Hey, I'm not counting Hunter because he's still playing.
85 was Chris Dolman,
who was a linebacker, and they moved him to defensive end.
Yep. And then Gerald Robinson was the next year.
Yeah, he started out okay, then injuries set in, and he was gone by 88.
And then Al Noga was drafted as a defensive end, but we all know that he played tackle.
No, he was actually drafted as a defensive tackle and moved to defensive end.
Oh, because on here they have I get
ignore them, catch.
It's the DN/DT, so
he was a D tackle. He didn't play defensive end until the next year, and that's because Doug Martin had got hurt.
Benji Rowland
never played it down.
Marlon Hobby.
Marion Hobby never played it down.
I don't remember that. That's usually a name I remember.
Yeah, he played the Patriots. He was a Patriot.
Greg Schichenstein never played. Let's see. This looks like the quarterback position, but they didn't draft for him.
Didn't have to. You had Dolman, you had Noga, then you had Barker and Harris.
That Barker was 92.
And Harris was 92. Robert Harris. You had
then Fernando Smith and Mike Wells were 94.
Fernando was good till he got hurt. Derek Alexander sucked.
Derek Alexander. He's got a. He's got to be one of the top 2 or 3 busts for that position because he was a first-round pick. He was the first pick of that year.
Yeah, he did. But here's the thing, though. He did play. He was a starter for 4 years.
But then when you have a guy taken in the 7th round who had a better career, Jason Fisk.
Yeah, and also we picked him at 11. Tampa Bay picked Warren Sapp at 12.
Yeah.
So
Dwayne Clemens was taken the next year.
Clemens played for about 10 years.
96 to 05.
Yeah.
And then Stalin Collinet.
He played for a few years.
Yeah. Let's see. Demetrius Underwood.
Yeah, that's my bust. That's my all-time bust.
Talance Sawyer.
Talance was pretty good. The doctors botched his surgery.
No Scarlett. He played both, right? But he only played one.
Yes. Yeah. Catch, keep talking. I'll be right back.
Michael Burlow. I actually remember him being drafted. There was a lot of hype about him being drafted, but he never played. Fred Robbins, Chris Hovan were taken before him. That was pretty good. Chris Hovan was definitely a tackle. Fred Robbins was definitely a tackle. Willie Howard was 2001. Y'all may know Willie Howard, Yogi's brother. Um, and then we got so like I said, there's years in between taking defensive ends. So after Willie Howard's Darian Scott, Darian Scott and Kenichi Idezi were taken. Darian Scott, man, I remember people thought that he was going to be so good, so he's definitely got to be a bust. Erasmus James, he's got to be listed as a bust as well because he was a first round pick.
Did you mention Kenichi?
Yeah, Kenichi and Kenichi Idezi and Darian Scott were taken the year before.
Yeah, Kenichi cancer was the problem with Kenichi.
He was really good till cancer ended his career. But God, that 2005 draft, it's got to be the worst draft. Listen to this: Troy Williamson, Erasmus James, Marcus Johnson, Dustin Fox, Theatric Faison, C.J. Mosley, and Adrian Ward.
Only one I remember actually making the team. Well, James did make the team, but so did Faison.
Yeah.
Troy was just garbage.
C.J. Mosley had the longest career. He played 140 games.
I ain't saying much.
And then, so Ray Edwards, Brian Robinson.
Yeah, see, Brian was very good.
Yeah.
He was very good. Wasn't a starter most of the time, but he was very good.
Well, he was playing behind Jared Allen when he first got here.
Yeah, he was a starter, and then they got Jared. But Brian had injuries his rookie year. That's why.
Everson Griffin was a 4th-round pick in 2010.
Yep.
And then, let's see, DeAndre Reed.
God, I think he spent a year with us.
Trevor Guyton, God, he was awful.
Oh, Trevor Guyton, LaTroy Guyon?
No, it's just from California. He never played.
Oh, okay.
But I remember the name. And then Sharif Floyd, did he ever play end, or he was strictly a tackle, right?
He was a tackle, and they botched his surgery.
Yeah. And I did Mike Zimmer's comments didn't help the situation. And then BJ Du Bois. I remember. God.
Oh, Du Bois, yeah.
Yeah. Danielle Hunter was a 3rd-round pick in 2015.
I mean, Hunter's still playing, but Hunter's up. I got Griffin ahead of him.
And then on Ade Aruna, and then Jalen Holmes. All these guys are not good. Oh my gosh. DJ Wanham, 2020. Kenny Willikis, same draft. Jarius Robinson. I think he was on the practice squad and someone sniped him off our practice squad.
Philadelphia.
That's it.
Yeah.
So Jarius Robinson was the last defensive end they took. Well, they have Patrick Jones listed as defensive end, I guess.
Yeah, he's a defensive end out. Well, now it's because the way Flores lines him up, he's an outside linebacker. Since they kind of muddied the water with that. Defensive tackle, very simple. Alan Page, Keith Millard, Kevin Williams. Very simple.
And then, because after that, it gets is it Sutherland? Is it Larson? Is it Pat Williams? Is it Jerry Ball?
Larson and Sutherland were not drafted by the Vikings. Pat Williams was not drafted by the Vikings.
Oh, I'm falling into the same trap everybody in the chat's falling into.
The bust at defensive tackle, Chris Hovan.
Because he narked.
Yeah, Chris Hovan. Yeah, gamer, because Kevin was drafted by the Vikings. Pat was a free agent signee.
Yeah. I fell into the same trap that the other people were.
Yeah, he was the worst. I mean, and now keep in mind, we had Duck White. he took over for Alan Page.
So Armin Watts, I think he's still in the league.
Watts is still playing.
So I don't think C20. There was no. Caleb Roy was last year. We have yet to be seen. I
Yeah.
can never say his name. Eze Otoa, the guy from Minnesota.
Atom
Yeah. So too early for him as well.
Adamewo.
Yeah.
He's in Jacksonville.
So it's still too early for him though to say whether he's been good or not.
Yeah, he's not even a Viking. He's
yeah.
not even on the team.
So they got James Lynch listed as a tackle.
He is a tackle.
So with the 3-4 though, he might play outside. Who knows?
With the way that technically with the way they line up in that 3-4, it looks like a 5-2. They're at the line. Everybody's at the line. It looks like a 5-2. The old, like when we played 5-2 in high school. That's what it looks like.
Man, Jaleel Johnson. You talk about someone who had plenty of chances.
Yeah, and he had moments. He had his moments. Yeah, but it's definitely Paige Millard and Kevin Williams.
Shamar Stephan was actually had a better career than some of the people drafted. When you're a 7th round pick and you play 115 games, you had a good career.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Sharif Floyd, man, if he did not get hurt.
It's not even, and we can't even blame him for getting hurt.
Yeah.
If the Viking doctors don't botch his surgery.
Yeah.
And they did that to a couple of Vikings I know of. They did that to Sharif, and they botched Talance Sawyer's surgery.
Yeah.
Talance had a lawsuit with the team.
I think he won it too.
Yeah, because they botched his surgery.
Yeah. So
what do we got next? Outside linebackers?
Christian Ballard. Do you remember him?
Vaguely.
Another Iowa defensive tackle.
Another Iowa defensive, yeah. I remember him.
Yeah, that's got to be. Did you want to break down just linebacker group in general, or did you want to do inside, outside?
I'm going to break down outside. I'll break down outside linebackers because that's easy. Matt Blair. We did draft Roy Winston. We drafted Fred McNeil. Fred McNeil's the number 1 draft choice.
Rip Hawkins, was he inside or outside?
He's middle linebacker. Carlos Jenkins was drafted by us. He's an outside linebacker.
Yeah. Bobby Bell.
You know what? It's going to be
was Bobby Bell outside or inside? He was his performer.
Outside linebacker.
So, but he's a Hall of Famer, but with the Chiefs, not with the Vikings.
Right. So guess what? Matt Blair, Chad Greenway, and I'm going to put Roy Winston third because Roy Winston was drafted in 62.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm trying to think.
The thing here, it just says linebacker. It doesn't say inside. It doesn't say outside. It just says linebacker.
Okay.
So it seems like when Bud Grant was running the team, that if they had good starters, they really didn't invest that much in backups.
No, he stayed with his starters for a long time. Probably long. That's why the team got so old. He had the reliable veterans.
So I take it Simeon was inside?
Who?
Seaman?
Jeff Seaman was a middle linebacker. Scott Studwell was a middle linebacker.
I know Studwell was, yeah.
Yeah, Studwell 1, Seaman 2.
Fred McNeil.
McNeil was an outside linebacker. I think for middle linebackers, Seaman or Studwell and Seaman, maybe E.J. Henderson.
Yeah, Scott Studwell was a 9th round pick.
Yeah. Yep. Seaman was a number 1 pick.
Yep.
Um,
Dennis Johnson.
DJ, he was an inside linebacker. He was a middle linebacker.
A lot of these linebackers that they drafted did not play.
I can't think of any that were a bust, like a real bust.
Walker Lee Ashley.
Walker had that. He tore his Achilles, and back then, if you tore your Achilles, you were never really the same afterwards.
Tim Member.
Timmy Amber never played it down.
Joe Kramer, Cormier.
Joe Cormier.
He played.
He didn't play long.
Yeah. Ray Berry didn't play.
Ray Berry was actually an outside linebacker, middle linebacker. He was supposed to replace Studwell, but Studwell didn't retire till 90, and he took over in 91 in middle linebacker. But when Denny came in, he wanted Jack Del Rio. So
David Braxton was the first round pick in '89.
His second.
First pick for the Vikings.
He didn't do anything.
Then there's a lot of these linebackers. Carlos Jenkins was the first, not 91, but let's see.
Jenkins was good.
Ed McDaniel, 92, but I think he was middle, right?
Ed McDaniel was originally outside, moved to the middle.
I remember him as.
Hey, Mary, how you doing?
I remember him as a middle linebacker.
Yeah, he was an outside linebacker. He started with Jack Del Rio on the outside.
Pete Burchett, 94 was the last pick in 94. He was another guy who was a pretty good coach.
Yeah, Burchett. He was a special teamer mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a special teamer.
Pretty rough for linebacker position. I can't believe this after looking at this. Wow. Dwayne Rudd was a first round pick in '87. He was outside.
Rudd would make bonehead plays every now and then.
And the guy drafted right after him also made bonehead plays. Kylie Wong.
Yeah, Kylie ended up with the Texans.
Yep. And then let's see. Wow.
That's why I said it's like if you're going to pick the top three, it's got to be Blair, Greenway,
Randall Smith,
Roy Winston,
Nick Rogers, E.J. Henderson was a second round pick.
Yep.
Mike Natiel was also taken in that same draft. Rod Davis, Dontarius Thomas.
He had a couple of stints with the team.
Yeah. Man. Chad Greenway.
Yeah.
Rufus Alexander was not very good. Wow. Jasper Brinkley, of course I remember him.
Mm-hmm.
Nate Triplett.
Yep, Nate Triplett.
Ross Holman didn't play. Audie Cole. Preseason,
he was
preseason Hall of Famer.
He was a preseason Hall of Famer. No.
Jared Hodges was disappointment.
Yes, he's Penn State, right?
Michael Motti. Yep. Brandon Watts. Anthony Barr. Then Eric Hendricks. Yeah. But Eric Hendricks Anthony Barr was outside. Eric Hendricks was inside.
And Barr's production dropped off quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it really dropped off. Kendrick stayed steady, but Barr dropped off probably after his second year.
Troy Dye, special teamer.
Jeez. He's still in the league.
Chaz Surratt. I was so excited for him when they drafted him because he was fast, but God, what disappointment.
He's playing with the Jets.
Brian Asamoah. We all know what he's going through.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, after looking at that, whew,
there's a lot of dust. There's a lot of dust.
Yeah. Hey, Mary, I just saw your comment. I hope you're feeling better. It's been a while since I've heard from you, so I hope you're feeling better. Yeah, yeah. Rudd had the throat slicing celebration. Got that banned. Um, so it looks like most of our linebackers were just like our quarterbacks, free agents,
Yeah,
like Mike Merriweather and Mike Merriweather was a
Mayweather,
trade.
Del Rio,
Yeah,
guys like that were all free agents.
yeah.
Uh,
Wow.
even Wally Hilgenberg was a free agent. Um, you know, so now middle linebackers is easy. That's Studwell, Seaman, and I'm gonna give it to after because I mean Seaman played for years and Studwell played for years, and then after that it was Jack Del Rio, but we didn't draft him. It was Jeff Brady, didn't draft him either.
Beaker, we didn't
We
draft him.
Beaker, we didn't draft him. We drafted Kylie Wong, but he only stayed. He only played like a couple of years. Eddie
Not
Mack, we did draft him. It's got to be EJ Henderson.
EJ Henderson over at Kendricks.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that. Yeah,
Kendricks had some. I liked Kendricks, but he had some flaws. He did.
yeah.
EJ was a hitter, but when EJ had that leg snap the way it did, he's another one you never know how long he could have played. EJ would hit you.
Yeah.
Kendricks wasn't exactly going to set the world on fire with his tackling.
I don't think EJ can play in today's NFL.
No, he'd be fined too much money. So
All right,
no, we're not
so
including current guys. That's why I didn't include Kendricks because he's still playing. He's playing with the
yeah,
Cowboys.
yeah, right. Well, Kendricks really. Can you really say Kendricks' career? I mean, his career last year was awful. So I don't think. I mean, I don't think Hendricks is going to play this year.
He's playing with the Cowboys. He's signed with the
Yeah.
Cowboys.
I don't think he's going to play this year.
He'll play.
um,
Zimmer's going
yeah,
to play him. Zimmer is going to play him. Cornerbacks. Wow, I got to think about this one.
because remember Winfield was not drafted by us guys.
Yeah, Winfield was not. He was drafted but never played it down. Antoine Winfield was not drafted by us. He's a Buffalo
Right.
Bill.
Right, he was not drafted by us. Yes.
I was thinking of Dave Winfield. Never mind.
So on here, so Ed Schockerman.
I'll
61.
just put it out there right now. Bobby Bryant, Carl Lee, and I'm gonna go Ed Schrockman.
I'm trying to see here. God, looking at the Vikings draft history,
And
not as good as I thought.
you have to scratch your head because they got more misses than they do hits.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like 69 draft, they drafted like 13, 14 players, only like 4 of them played.
I think the only ones that made it were who? Ed White.
Ed White, McCaffrey, McCauley, Dowling, and Jinx. Yeah.
Yeah, they were all on taxi squad. They didn't play it down
Yeah.
with the team. Yeah, I mean but we drafted Bobby Bryant in '67. Good night, Mom.
No,
We drafted Carl Lee in '83. And then we got Schrockman. So
Jeff Wright.
And Schrockman played like 10 years.
Well,
10 years.
Where would you put Jeff Wright? Was a 15th
Jeff Wright was a safety.
Was a 15th round pick.
Yeah, Jeff Wright was a safety.
Like I said, it was before my time. So I mean, I know Vikings. Like I know the players are, but I don't know their specific position. Let's see. Dave Mason. Jackie Wallace, was he a safety?
Nope, Jackie played cornerback, but he only played 1 year with us.
Okay.
And he started because Bobby Bryant got hurt.
And then, let's see. Wow. This is depressing. Uh, definitely more misses than hits. That's
Gamer,
for damn
we've had
sure.
some really bad ones that we've drafted.
Willie Teal.
Teal was hurt, and then he just was not. He stayed with the team, but he was not very good.
See, it's hard to say who's the worst because the Vikings haven't had very many huge draft busts, and most of the guys who didn't work out got hurt. So you can't really
Well,
say.
the ones that didn't work out back in the day, they hung on to them. So
Yeah.
you got to see how bad they really were for a few years. Now, like with Gladney and Danzler, who else? I know Zimmer drafted a couple that were
Yeah.
dog.
So Carl Lee was 83.
Gladney, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he just wasn't ready.
Isaac Holt.
Holt was more. He was part of the Walker trade.
Najee Mustafa was pretty good.
Najee Mustafa, Reggie Rutland, pretty good. Reggie Rutland was a starter. He was a starter.
Yeah, Brad Edwards was a safety.
Brad Edwards was a safety.
Let's see. Wow.
The guys I picked, though, played the position the longest for the team.
Yeah.
And that was Brock Ryan and Carl Lee and
Todd Scott was a safety.
Mm-hmm. Todd Scott was a safety.
Talk about a man who took chances. Whew.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The one chance he took brought down the Ditka dynasty in Chicago.
Yeah.
That play started the downfall of Mike Ditka and the Bears in '92.
I think I have my bust.
Who?
Dwayne Washington.
See, Dwayne was bad as last year. He was decent up until then.
He did have 31 picks, so I guess.
He was.
I remember him being worse than what.
I'm trying to. There's.
Coley Fuller.
We drafted John Swain in '81, and he could not tackle for the life of him.
Yeah, he was a 4th round pick too.
Yeah, in '81, John Swain, which I shouldn't talk about him because I'm friends with his family, but he was not. I mean, he's a decent cover guy, but he couldn't tackle worth a damn.
What about Coley Fuller?
I like Corey.
Rest in peace. Orlando was a safety.
Orlando was a safety. Corey would hit you.
Yeah.
You know.
Sam Boyd. Robert Tate switched to receiver. Torian Gray was pretty bad.
He was a safety. We had him at safety.
Let's see.
Anthony Bass wasn't very good either.
Ramos McDonald was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Kenny Wright was okay. He held his own.
Kenny Wright was all right. You know what? Wait a minute. Who was a guy that Childress drafted?
So
we traded out of the first round and he took a defensive back in like 2010.
Well, so you got Eric Kelly. Yeah, I'm at 2002 right now. Willie Alford was 02. Let's see, 04. DeAndre Ellen. Oh my God. Ellard. Dustin Fox. He was a safety. Cedric Griffin, guy from Texas, was 2006.
He was decent.
Yeah.
I think injuries did him in.
Marcus McCauley.
He was bad.
Yep. I think they took him because he was tall.
Right.
Tyrell Johnson was a safety, but he was a first-round pick.
Oh, wait, no, the worst. Chris Cook.
Yeah, from Virginia.
Chris Cook.
He was a second-round pick.
Yes, he was bad. He was bad.
He was the first pick in 2010.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yes, he was terrible.
That was the Mickey Shula draft.
Yep. That was the last draft for Brad Childress.
Everson Griffin was the only good player.
Yep.
I mean, Joe Webb was in that draft too, but
yeah, that Chris Cook was terrible. Terrible.
Another height guy.
He was a height guy. Couldn't cover with a damn.
Right. And then Brandon Burton. Mistrell Raymond was a safety. Josh Robinson was short. I think that's what he couldn't play in the league. Xavier Rhodes.
Xavier Rhodes was good when he started.
Until every time he got burnt, oh, my hammy.
Oh, God, yeah. He was quick to the sideline. Trey Waynes, at least Trey Waynes would hit you.
Yes. And then Mackenzie Alexander was awful.
He was a nickel guy. He was never, that's all he was.
Yeah.
He was a nickel guy.
It's pretty bad.
So safeties, now this is where people.
Mike Hughes.
Oh, bad. He was bad.
Yeah. He had that interception first game. Everybody,
yeah, after that he was.
Highlight of his career. Harrison Hand, Jeff Gladney, Cameron Dantzler, all taken in the same draft.
Yep.
Oh, then Cam Bynum, that is a corner. He did play corner in college, but he's a safety. Andrew Booth, too early. And Mekhi Blackman. So
Booth and Evans and Blackman are too early.
Thank you, George. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you, George.
I would say Carl Lee in my lifetime is probably the best corner that they drafted.
Yeah.
So he would be one for me.
He'd be one for you. I got Bobby Bryant as one.
Right.
Because here's the thing: if Paul Krause isn't on the team, Bobby Bryant's actually the team leader in interceptions with 51. Paul had 53 with the Vikings.
Yeah, Wayne's got burnt because I think Wayne's took chances, unnecessary chances. Wayne's was the type of guy who would rather hit you, try to separate you from the ball than play the ball.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he got burnt a lot. And he was fast, and he thought he could make up getting burned. Well, you can do that in college.
Plus, he also, the thing I think with Wayne's too, with Zimmer's defense, he very seldom had over-the-top help.
Yeah.
You know, he was mostly one-on-one, him and Xavier both.
I think Jeff Gladney had a lot of off-the-field issues that was affecting his play.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't really want to talk about Jeff Gladney in a negative light because of what happened to him and everything like that. So as soon as he got everything straightened out, the car crash.
So safeties is very easy. Number one is Joey Browner.
Yep. I was going to say, you better say Joey Browner.
Number one is Joey Browner. That's easy.
So Joey
Number
Browner.
Two, and see, it will be Harrison Smith, but Harrison is still playing.
Yes, I'm a put gas in your car. Jesus Christ, stop bothering me.
It will be Harrison Smith, but he's still playing.
Right. No.
So,
Harrison Smith too.
Harrison Smith will be two. He's still playing,
okay.
but he will be two.
Yeah. No one will ever beat Joey Browner.
No. Joey Browner is number one. I don't care what anybody says. Joey Browner is number one.
Krause was not drafted by the Vikings.
Nope. Paul Krause was drafted by the Redskins. After that,
Tyrell Johnson's probably one of the biggest busts.
oh God, he was bad. Oh, he was bad. That's the one I was thinking of too. He was drafted
Yeah, they moved up to get him, and he got every opportunity to be a starter, and he was awful.
He was awful, just awful.
Yeah,
Do me a favor. Did the Vikings draft Carl Kasulki
I did not see him on this list.
in '63?
Yeah, I did not see him on the list at all
Okay, then he was a free agent.
because that's a name that would stick out on the list.
Right.
So 63, yeah, let's see. Yeah, so 63 was Dunaway, Bobby Bell, Flatley, Pogue, Clattenbach, Mahoney, Hoover, Cossins, Campbell, Ryan, Ferrasi, Morale, Murich, Muncie, McIntyre, Horvath, and Kent.
Okay, so he was a free agent.
Yeah.
Well, shit. The only other safety we drafted Tommy Hannon. We drafted Jeff Wright. We drafted Todd Scott.
And you said Schockerman was a corner, right?
Schrockman was a corner.
And then let me see.
The bust is Tyrell. He's the bust.
Yeah.
I top 3 after Browner and Smith. You could go with. I mean, Hannon played 8 years.
I mean, Cam Bynum has a chance to be a top 3 safety.
Bynum has a chance. So it's between Kasulki, Todd Scott. Well, if it was between those two, it would be Kasulki. He played the longest. You know what? Kasulki wasn't drafted. So
what about Tom McCauley? He played a couple years. Man.
Yeah, it's Jeff Wright.
Hey, why gotta make me feel bad?
We don't have. Yeah, this is.
Oh my gosh! I can see why the Vikings are known as a free agent team. My God.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at this, there's a lot of defensive backs drafted by Minnesota, but they all have 0 games played.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of them.
Steve Wagner played some games, but I'm not sure. Tom Hannon, 77 to 84.
Yeah, you know what? For that third one, I'm just gonna go with Jeff Wright, just because he played in 3 Super Bowls.
Willie Teal, he was a corner.
He was a corner.
Swain, you said was a bust. Gosh.
By the way, John Turner was technically a cornerback, moved to safety.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's I'm gonna go with Jeff Wright.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Jeff Wright.
And jeez.
When you think about it, you're kind of like, what the hell?
Well, Brad Edwards.
Brad Edwards was better off with Washington. He was better with Washington.
Jeez.
Yeah, he was better
Todd
off.
Scott. Between Todd Scott and Wright. But since Wright played 3 Super Bowls, you got to give it to Wright, I guess.
You got to give it to Wright. Yep.
Because now we're getting into the 90s, and the safeties were mostly free agent signings in the 90s.
Oh, wait, we did draft Orlando Thomas, though.
Rest in peace, Orlando Thomas.
Yeah, we did draft Orlando, but he stayed hurt so much till...
It was hard to say that he was good or not because
because he was hurt all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty. Oh my gosh. Yeah. We talk about the Vikings defense always being good, but when you look at it,
It was
Oh,
mostly free agents. They fit a system. That's usually
yeah. O'Brien Williams was a safety. Willie Alford was a corner, but he was awful.
he played safety.
He played. I remember as a corner. He played corner in college. Yeah. It's gotta. Yeah. It's sad that I know we make fun of other teams with their best players being from the '60s and '70s, but when you look at the Vikings history, we're the same position.
Mm-hmm. But some of those teams have been around for years. We've only been around 50 compared to a lot of teams.
Jamarcus Stanford was pretty good. That's for a seventh round pick. But I wouldn't. He's not top. That's for sure.
Mm-mm.
I think a lot of the new guys have a chance to move up this list.
If they stay
Yeah,
with free agency, that could change everything. And depending on the coaching staff, that has a lot to do with it. Some coaches are like, they don't fit my scheme. I don't want them here. Or I didn't draft them. I don't want them here. Which is,
if you're a good player, you're a good player. Should
yeah, if you're a good player, you're a good player.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be because. I'm just looking at the list. It's not very good.
Well, don't look at it too long. You'll start crying.
Oh my lord. Yes. Yeah. So I would say Joey Brown is by far the one. Harrison Smith probably two. Right
Mhm.
now, Wright is three, but if Cam Bynum and Metellus stay, they have a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, barring injury, see how long their career lasts and see how long they stay a Viking.
Yeah,
Got a lot to do with
because
it.
if Brian, the guy Edwards would have played his whole career for Minnesota, he would probably be.
I don't understand.
It would probably be Joey Browner, Jeff Wright, and then Brian.
I never understood why they let him go.
Yeah.
They let him go in Plan B. When he left in Plan B, they signed Travis Curtis. They only signed Travis Curtis for a year.
Yeah.
I never understood that, why they did that, but
Because he was 27, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That's so. Like I said, I would definitely, if he played his whole career with Minnesota, he'd be number three for me. Same thing. Russell and Edwards were kind of the same guy. I think they drafted Russell because they got rid of Edwards when they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But Edwards was the better player of the two.
Yep.
But why they get rid of him, we have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But so if we can't put current Vikings on there, then Todd Scott's got to be the third.
No, he doesn't.
Because you got Nick Wright, you got Joey Browner, and then
you got Joey Browner, Jeff Wright, and I'll put Tommy Hannon on there.
You put a hand in over Todd
Yeah.
Scott.
Yeah.
Because I think most people remember Scott from the '98 season.
No, Scott wasn't there in '98.
92.
92.
92 season. Yeah, when you made all those plays. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Tommy Hannon played 9 years with the team. So, you know what? I'm gonna say this. I'm probably gonna piss off some people. The bust is probably gonna be Drake May. I'm looking at, and they're just hyping him so much. I look at him, I'm just like, yeah, he's got to have a lot of things work around him to be successful.
Who was the comp I saw them compare Drake May to? Because they compared Jalen Daniels. They did like a comparison. Jaden Daniels to Lamar Jackson. Um,
Which
Caleb Williams.
I guess the Vikings really are interested in Jaden Daniels. They're really interested.
What's this trade about? Let's see. Hey, Mary, we do this every Wednesday
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, 9:30. This is a weekly Vikings history show. If you have, Mary, if you have a topic that you want to know about for the Vikings history, let us know. We'll do it for you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But Joe Cap, he can throw better than Joe Cap.
He throws better than Joe Cap, though, gamer. Cap couldn't throw a spiral if his life depended on it.
We appreciate it, George. You're here
Thank
all the
you,
time.
George.
Yeah. Um, so it was. They compared. So they compared J.J. McCarthy to. I don't know if it's because.
Well, Drake got compared to Josh Allen.
Yeah, Drake got compared to Josh Allen. Caleb Williams got. Who did he? I know what's his name was like I said, Lamar Jackson was Jared Daniels. I can't remember who they compared JJ to. One of the guys wanted to say Tom Brady, but it's Tom Brady, so you can't compare anybody to Tom Brady. But JJ
He's got that.
McCarthy has the same. He's got this.
The thing with JJ I like is he's got that competitive fire.
Yes.
Which could actually
okay.
That could motivate a team a long way. We didn't have that with Kirk.
Yeah.
And I said that fucker's name, god damn it. But yeah, he's got that competitive fire that you'd want to go to war with him. He's one of those guys. Because I think May is one of those quarterbacks where he's got to have everything completely around him to work. He's got to have the right pieces. The offensive line has to be stellar. But he looks to me, I wasn't impressed with him in North Carolina.
The reason why Drake May is because when they talk about all four quarterbacks, talent-wise, Drake May's got the highest ceiling of all the quarterbacks. That's why people like him. But having the P word, which is known as potential, gets coaches fired.
Yeah.
To me, J.J. McCarthy may not be the most talented of all the guys, but the dude lost one game as 2 years as a starter. And I know Michigan's a great team and stuff like that, but when J.J. McCarthy needed to make a play for Michigan, he made it. So I think that's why a lot of people like J.J. McCarthy. Caleb Williams, he's talented. I think he's a little spacey, but that's just me. Jalen Daniels, he gets hurt a lot, and he was okay at Arizona State. He had one great year at LSU, but when you look at the weapons LSU had, was Jalen Daniels good because of his weapons, or was he good because he's Jalen Daniels? So all four quarterbacks have a question about them. That's why I don't know if there's a clear-cut quarterback one this year. Bo Nix was in college football for 5 years. He never really won anything. So that's another reason why people don't like Bo Nix. Penix, people talk about his injury, but he hasn't been injured in the last 2 years.
And Penix has already told people, you want to see my MRIs, you want to see all of that, I'll gladly show you.
Yeah.
Show you.
So
it's, but here's what you got to look at, especially as Viking fans. Whoever we get at quarterback, Kevin O'Connell was hired to get the next franchise quarterback for this team. It's up to him, no matter who we get.
Yeah.
It's up to him to turn him into a franchise quarterback. If Kevin O'Connell doesn't do that, Kevin O'Connell's out of a job.
And we just shown the Vikings' history of drafting quarterbacks is not very good.
No. No, I got to be honest. If this team, I think the thing that would probably upset me the most is if they take all those draft choices and move up to 3 just for Drake May. Right there, I'm kind of like hesitant because that's a lot to give up. No matter how much money you have next year, it's still a lot to give up. Still a lot of draft capital to give up.
Yeah, the thing about going with talent though is you can end up with a Peyton Manning, or you can end up with a Ryan Leaf. More likely, most of the time, you end up with a Ryan Leaf, not a Peyton Manning.
Yeah, right. But like I said before,
But
it all comes down to KLC. If he's this
yeah,
quarterback whisperer, he's got to do it. I
and
mean,
I'm not one of those guys like T Bass was on Friday night. I think free T Bass thinks are the worst possible situation. You get 3 first-round picks. The guy's a bust. You lose those 3 first-round picks.
T-Bass lived through the Herschel Walker deal.
But if you do get a quarterback, and let's say he's not Mahomes, but he's around there, who cares how many draft picks we gave up if he's the guy?
Yeah, but he's got to prove it.
Yeah.
You got to put weapons around him, which means you got to pay Darisaw, you got to pay Jefferson. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's why people ask me, what quarterback do I want the Vikings to take? Only
what is the hate on Bo Nix? What is the hate on Bo Nix?
Because he's played 6 years in college, and his teams have never really won anything, except for his last year at Oregon.
Okay, outside of McCarthy and maybe Penix, what teams have done anything? Jaden Daniels, yeah, but he's got a loaded team.
Caleb Williams won everywhere he went. His defense was bad at Southern Cal. That's why a lot of people like him, because he won in spite of his.
He doesn't play defense, okay?
Drake May, people like his upside. Drake May really didn't win either.
Drake May, I saw 2 games of Drake May, and I was not impressed.
His ceiling's really high. That's why people like him. JJ McCarthy may not be the most talented, but the guy has won almost everything. And they tried not to make him the starter every year. He's kind of like Tom Brady reversed, like because the Michigan kept throwing Drew Henson in front of Tom Brady, and Drew Henson would suck the first half, and Tom Brady would come in and win the second half. At Michigan, from what Zoe says, is that every time they had a spring practice, they always had a quarterback who they would want to play over J.J. McCarthy, but J.J. always won. So, but J.J. McCarthy is also 20. I think he's 21. I think he's one of the youngest quarterbacks as well, too. So there's that, too. So he could be the Vikings quarterback for 20 years. Because he's only 21 if he plays until he's 40. He can play until he's 41 if he takes care of himself. So
I gotta admit something though. Here's the thing: if the Giants move up to take McCarthy, him playing in New York is probably not going to be the best.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing though. People are saying the Vikings should. There's a lot of people saying pick and stick at 11. It's draft time, so you don't know what's true, but what's not true. But the top 3 picks, if there's no trades, are probably going to be quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the receiver at 4. And then I heard the Cardinals really like Harrison Jr. They don't care.
They want Harrison regardless.
They don't care that he didn't go to any of his pro stuff. Then
the Chargers could be the team to trade with.
And if the Chargers trade, the steam is that the Chargers will trade with the Giants to move down 1, get a pick, and that way they still get the receiver. Because if the Giants move up, they're not taking a receiver, they're taking a quarterback. So there's your 4th quarterback. So if the Chargers stay at 5, they're taking the receiver. All right, so at 6, and then you got 7, which is Tennessee. I think Tennessee 7. But there, people are saying that that's where you have to look out for the Broncos and the Raiders move up, because the Broncos may not have the same draft capital as the Vikings, but
did they extend Surtain?
But people are saying they did that so when they trade Patrick Surtain, the team that they trades to gets 2 years of control instead of 1. Because that way, if they need a franchise tag, if they can't sign them, they can franchise tag.
Okay, so we got Chicago 1,
right.
Washington 2, New England 3, Arizona 4.
Right.
Chargers 5,
Yep. Giants
Giants
6.
6, Tennessee 7,
Yep.
Atlanta 8,
Yep.
Chicago's at 9, Jets are 10. See, the Jets need a quarterback.
Right. And that's another thing is people are saying that if it gets to 9, let's say the Broncos jump the Vikings and move to 7 for Tennessee. All right. And let's say
The Raiders.
Let's say number 8 was the Falcons.
Yeah.
Falcons. Let's say the Falcons don't trade, and the Falcons take a defensive end. Let's say they take Jared Verse or Dallas Turner. Okay, because that's what they need. And then number 9 is the Bears. Well, they're not going to trade with Minnesota.
No, they'll trade with Denver.
They'll trade with Oakland, and the Oaklands jump up and get Michael Penix. Okay, so that's number 9. All right, so the Jets need a quarterback. Well, who's left? Bo Nix. Jets take Bo Nix. That leaves the Vikings without a quarterback.
At least in round 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
and they're saying that could happen.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not. It's not out of the question. But the Patriots are sounding like they want the Vikings number 1s this year and next year.
Well, they're saying that people are saying that the Vikings might have to pay the most because if the Chargers and Giants trade, that's like they split first rounds and the Giants give like a third up. Move up one spot. So that it's not going to cost the Giants much. And then the Broncos will give up their first round pick this year, and then their 2026 first round pick, and then Patrick Surtain. Okay, and then the Raiders they got draft capital. The Raiders have a lot of picks.
Yeah.
So the Raiders could package any number of picks they want to move up. So the Vikings will have to. So that's why the Vikings don't have a second round pick next year. So it would have to be the two. It would have to be the 2 picks this year, a first round next year, and they're talking like a third. So basically, if the Vikings move up to 3, they give the first two round picks this year, give up the first round pick next year, and then 2026 give up a second round pick. So that's 3 straight years of not having a second round pick, and only 1 year out of 3 of having a first round pick. That's a steep price to pay.
Yes, it is.
So the question is, do you pay that for Drake May to move up to 3? Do you pay that for JJ? If Jaden Daniels is there, do you pay that? That's the question. Do they believe enough of these quarterbacks to pay that much capital? Do we as fans believe in the quarterbacks that much?
Well, some of these fans up here are like, if we don't get either one of those quarterbacks, it's a lost cause.
Yeah. But the thing about it is I'm willing to do that trade if that's their guy, because when you look at the Vikings cap space next year, they're going to have plenty of money to fill the holes that they can't get in this year's draft. So you'll have your quarterback. So if he doesn't work out, yes, it'll set the franchise back. But the Vikings have shown that they're willing to pay a free agent quarterback if they have to, if the one they draft doesn't work out. So I'm under. If that's your guy, go get him. There is a price I'm not willing to pay. I'm not going to give up 3 first-round picks, a second, and a starter.
From what I'm reading, Kwesi doesn't want to give up pick number 23, but he's going to have to.
He's going to have to, unless the team wants the first-round pick next year. Because people are saying if it's the Patriots, they want our first 2 picks this year, first next year, the next available second, which would be 2026, and either Jordan Addison or JJ.
So they basically want to pull off a Herschel Walker trade.
Pretty much.
No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I'm not doing it either. I'll give you the picks because picks are unproven players. But if you want a 2 first in Jordan Addison, okay. But I'm not giving you all those picks and a player.
Mm-mm. Here's the thing, though. What the hell are the Patriots thinking? The Patriots.
They said they're open for business, but it's going to take an offer to wow them off the 3 spot because the Patriots have a lot of holes.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, okay, you get a quarterback, but you ain't got nobody for him to throw to.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell? Only O'Neal could get traded, but he's coming off he had that injury.
I don't think they trade JJ. I don't think the Wolves will let him.
No, and that could be a problem.
After Randy Moss getting traded, I don't think they'll want JJ traded.
No.
I think the Wolves, who don't put a lot of pressure on the team, I think the Wolves are kind of in Kwesi's ears and do what you have to do because another receiver just signed.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Right. He's the highest paid wide receiver. So JJ's going to get more than him.
So the Lions really overpaid that fool.
And they also paid Penny Sewell as well.
Well, Sewell, I can see he's offensive line, but you overpaid.
Yeah.
You overpaid for St. Brown.
What did St. Brown get?
He got a 4-year deal, I believe.
Amon St. Brown signs a 4-year, $120 million contract.
He is not worth that much.
No. I think he got more than Soul.
Soul is an extension.
Lions agree. Penny Sewell got 4 years, $112 million. So they're paying the receiver more than they're starting left.
Okay, so guess what? The Vikings are going to have to come up with more money for Darrisaw than that.
Yep, because Darrisaw is better.
Yep, they're going to have to come up with more money for Darrisaw. Yep. Well, we will find out in less than 24 hours what the Vikings are going to do.
I think Yogi removed it. Oh, wait. So those of you who have not seen the Lions new uniforms, their road uniforms and their home uniforms, I will say, are pretty sweet. They are pretty sweet.
They're fine, except they got that damn. Yeah. What can Nike do us all a favor and stop putting the goddamn word script on the jerseys?
But this is their alternate uniform, their third uniform, and in my opinion,
they look like the Panthers.
I think Tony agrees with me. These are hideous.
Those are awful. They got them looking like the Carolina Panthers.
Those are hideous. Maybe I'm old. I don't know. But those are hideous.
Yeah, those are. Here's the thing, Nike. Not every NFL team needs a black jersey, okay? God. And Nike does that because they sell these jerseys like big time.
Yeah. And, well, Young, I understand what you're saying. But look who the Bengals owner is.
T. Higgins wants to be traded. Okay, here's the thing.
Mike Brown
wants to be traded.
It's the stingiest owner in sports.
Yeah. T. Higgins wants to be traded, and so does Trey Hendrickson.
Yep.
I might be calling the Bengals. I seriously might be calling the Bengals right now. You're going to have to pay T. Higgins anyway, but Trey Hendrickson, you need line help.
Yeah.
He's a true defensive end. Yeah, Mike Brown is just a doofus.
What's the steam for Justin Herbert for the Vikings?
The Vikings don't want that contract.
And I hear that. I hear a lot of Vikings, like Zoe even did a video on it. Wasn't the whole point of getting rid of Cousins because you didn't want to pay a quarterback that much money?
Exactly.
Or to some of you in the chat, even though Justin Herbert cost a lot, would you have Justin Herbert over some of the quarterbacks that are coming out?
I like Herbert. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, if we can give up 11 and like a third for Herbert, I mean,
How much guaranteed money does Herbert have?
let's see.
I don't think he's fully guaranteed, which says a lot.
All right, so Justin Herbert, um, Justin Herbert signed a 5-year, $262 million contract, which including $16 million signing bonus and $211 million guaranteed, an annual salary of $52 million. 2024, Herbert will earn a base salary of $6 million after a signing bonus of $50 million, while carrying a cap hit of $19 million and dead cap value of $129 million.
And that's on the Chargers.
Yes, the Chargers have to pay that no matter what, even if he gets traded. But he's only $6 million against the cap this year.
What about next year?
So 2024, he's $615 million. 2025. Okay, so basically
he's
Justin Herbert makes less money than Kirk Cousins until 2028. So 2024 $6 million, 15 in 2025, 24 in 2026, 36 million in 2027, and then it jumps up to 47 in 2028. Then it goes down to 40 million in 2029, and then he's a unrestricted free agent in 2030. And the cap hit, the roster bonus is 5 million in 2028 and 10 million in 2029. So basically, yes, I would do a trade for Justin Herbert with that contract.
Yeah, now that you put it that way, and he's a veteran.
Yes, I would do the trade with Justin Herbert, because why would the Chargers want to trade Justin Herbert?
The Chargers want to trade him, and guess what? They want to draft J.J. McCarthy.
Yes, because who knows Harbaugh's offense? J.J. McCarthy.
He may still draft J.J.
Yeah.
Yeah, he may still draft J.J.
No, so left tackle.
Yeah, they moved him to left tackle.
Yeah.
Gamer.
And Darrisaw is better, though.
Yeah, but Darrisaw can't stay healthy.
So I'm glad I get off work early tomorrow. So my wife's a nurse, so she got free Jersey Mike's subs card. So we had that for dinner tonight. And we're having a meeting at my work tomorrow, and they're buying us lunch. So I don't have to pay for food for 2 days in a row. It's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's Red Robin, too. I don't know if you ever had Red Robin.
We've got one up here, but it's like one.
Yeah. But they're getting us Red Robin. So, yeah, Jersey Mike's is awesome.
I love Jersey Mike's. I love Jersey Mike's.
I got an off the menu. The manager suggested one for me. It's an off menu sub. It's roast beef and pepperoni, and then you get the chipotle mayo, and they have that red. You get that red pepper sauce on that. Oh, so good.
Stop making me hungry, dude.
13. I always get the 13, but I didn't get it this time because I wanted to try something different. But yeah,
maybe I'll make it. I got one over here by me. I might go there next week.
Yeah, I go to Jimmy John's and get the number 7, which is the spicy Italian.
I haven't been to Jimmy John's in a minute.
They don't
I have it over here. It closed during the pandemic, so
yeah, ours closed too.
Did it?
And then they reopened. Yeah,
yeah, it closed.
The one thing they don't have a John Smith subs here. They had those in Florida. It's kind of like a Jersey Mike's, just not as good.
Mm-hmm. I haven't been to Subway in years.
Subway's changed the way they're doing things. Subway's now like a Jersey Mike. They slice the meat and everything like in front of you now.
Really?
Because they were getting their ass kicked.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Trade JJ Hawkinson O'Neal get.
I don't think Quisenberry is a good starter. He's always been relatively a backup.
Well, I would rather have Hulker over Ali. Ali's not expensive. All's not explosive. Hawker is if you're getting rid of T.J. Hawkinson, then Hawker is the guy you need to draft because he is receiving wise. Hawkinson. The reason why he is so low in the draft order is because he has the willingness to block. He just doesn't have the technique. So he needs a lot of work in the blocking area. That's why he is, yeah.
So is Yogi doing the show tomorrow, right?
It is Yogi. It's everybody. It's Yogi. It's SK. It's GG. It's me. It's you. It's Mike, Zoe, Dave, uh, um, and Justin, Rap, and somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll log in. I'll go on with those guys during the draft. I just want to tell Viking fans right now, be prepared. We may not get the quarterbacks you think. We may not be picking till 11th. Wouldn't shock me either way.
And it wouldn't shock me if a quarterback did fall. Because we don't know what these teams are thinking.
The one that might is McCarthy could.
I mean, if the Vikings are at 11,
if the Chargers can't move Herbert,
right, or if they don't want to trade, or if they don't want to trade at a 5,
yeah,
they'll probably take Rome Odunze, the receiver from Washington.
Right.
So that leaves the Giants at 6. Or there was a Giants insider saying that the because of all the injuries and everything that happened with the Giants last year, that they don't think Daniel Jones had a good year because he didn't have anything around him. It was just him.
They just paid all that money for him, so
right.
You're going to.
So the Giants, the Giants insider said the outside world is saying the Giants need a quarterback. There's people in the Giants organization who don't think they need a quarterback. So let's say
as long as they think that, that's
right. Fine. So let's say Caleb Williams goes 1, Jade Daniels 2, Drake May 3, Harrison 4, Odunze 5. And then let's say Bowers goes 6 because he's thinking about retiring, or they take the Michigan receiver at 6 because they're stealing about that too.
That's the Giants.
So then 7, the Titans.
Titans are taking alt.
They're going to take they're taking alt. And then 8,
Atlanta.
They're going to take a defensive end. They're going to take Dallas Turner, Jared Verse, or whoever's there. Bears at 9. Who knows what they're going to take at 9 if they don't trade? But I think 9 is probably the next trade for the next trade.
Jets are
the Bears. The Bears don't have an offensive line, so they could take the Penn State tackle.
Right.
The Jets want a quarterback, but they have Aaron Rodgers, and they're saying Aaron Rodgers wants to play another 3 years. So are they going to take a quarterback? I don't know, but the Jets need a lot of help. So let's say the Jets take a defensive guy. So that's 10. So the Vikings are sitting there at 11.
McCarthy could fall
with McCartney, Michael Penix, and Bo Nix. And the Broncos are behind them, so they're not going to trade out of 11 because the Broncos are going to take.
The Broncos will take Nix.
The Broncos will take of those. So let's say the Vikings take. Let's say the Vikings take McCarthy. All right. So that leaves Bo Nix and Penix.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know who the Broncos are going to take. Does he want Bo Nix, who's movable, or does he want Michael Penix, who's a pocket passer? Either way, one of those two quarterbacks are gone. Okay. But at that point, it doesn't really matter because the Vikings have their quarterback. And the Vikings didn't have to trade. They didn't have to move a pick. That could happen, but I think it's more likely what I described earlier is what's going to happen. I think teams are going to trade up.
You think the Vikings are going to give up the ransom to move up?
I don't know. We don't know. Because between Bo Nix and because I think if the Vikings take J.J. McCarthy, the Broncos take Bo Nix, and then the Raiders take Penix. So all the quarterbacks are gone right there. Because after those guys, there's a huge drop-off. at the quarterback position. Spencer Rattler is the next quarterback ranked. Everybody says he's third or fourth round. So,
Wow.
I mean, and history shows two of the quarterbacks are going to be great. One of them is going to have a long career but not be great, and the other ones are going to be bust.
They're going to be bust.
Which one do you get? So at 23,
I'm taking a D tackle.
Best defensive tackle on the board.
I'm taking a D tackle.
So
Murphy,
that's the best.
Murphy
I think
could both be there tomorrow.
I think that's the best case scenario for Minnesota tomorrow. Or let's say they get to 23 and there's 5 players they like. Does Kwesi trade down? So let's say Johnny Newton's there, Byron Murphy's there, Sweat's there, and let's say they like one of the corners, like Kool-Aid's there. Kool-Aid and another corner's there. Do they move back 4 spots? Because you're guaranteed to get one of those players.
Are you guaranteed to get one of those players?
Well, there's 5 players. You trade back 4. There's 2 players you can choose from. So if someone trades in front, yeah.
You at least you hope it works out that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big gamble.
But like I said, there's 5 players there. You move back 4. That way you're guaranteed to get at least one of the, you have a choice of 2 of the 5 players that were there.
Well, we'll all see tomorrow because I'll tell you what, the Wilfs are going to be, if they're not in Kwesi's ear now, they'll be in his ear tomorrow.
Well, I think they've already in his ear about JJ. Like, I don't think they want a Moss 2.0 with JJ.
Yeah, but they don't want to give up the King's ransom for a quarterback either.
So
they really don't. They don't want to give up the King's ransom. They'd rather make a trade.
But I would be happy if you give up 11 and 23 for Herbert. Would you be happy with that?
I could work with that. He's a veteran. He's a veteran.
So I think the best case scenario is staying at 11 and having one of those 3 quarterbacks fall to you, because I wouldn't mind if they take Penix, Bo Nix, or McCarthy. I would be happy with that.
You know what?
If they stay at 11, I'd be happy with either one of those quarterbacks.
I'm at the point now where whoever they get at quarterback is fine because his name isn't who.
Yeah.
That's bottom line.
Change. I would, and then if they stay at 23, that's the best. I think the second best scenario is trade 11 to 23 for Herbert. I think that's the second best scenario. So, because think about it, is Jim Harbaugh probably wants to build the Chargers like he built the 49ers.
Yeah, plus don't forget now, they're in the same stadium as the Rams, so they want to take eyes off of the Rams.
Yep. And they're in the Chiefs division.
So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
It's finally here. I'm looking forward to it. I'm tired of the draft talk and the mocks and all that other crap. Let's just do it.
Well, it's officially draft day, people.
Yeah. It is officially draft day.
I might watch that movie tomorrow for the draft.
Which one? Draft day? I hated that movie.
It's unrealistic as hell.
That's why I hated
it. It's so far unrealistic.
It's just
you're not going to trade 3 first-round picks and then get them back in the same draft. I just like watching Jennifer Gardner. I'm not going to lie.
That was the only good part of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, the former Viking quarterback who shall remain nameless.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
It's a different.
I think the worst case scenario is they don't come out with a quarterback at all.
Even if it's a trade? Even if they trade for a veteran quarterback?
No, I'm saying they don't come up with a quarterback at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, trade for him, do whatever. I think staying at 11, not moving up, and getting a defensive tackle and that 23 getting a corner or something like that, or double dipping defensive tackle is good and all.
Yeah.
But and then take Spencer Rattler was your fourth round pick. I mean, would people be happy with that?
Here's the thing, though. If KOC is this supposed to be quarterback whisperer, he could take any quarterback and make him an NFL quarterback.
Because Spencer Rattler can make any throw in the NFL. He can make any throw that needs to be made. The problem is the guy who shall not be named, he has the same pocket presence as that guy.
Yeah. That's who he's been compared to.
Yeah.
That is who he's been compared to.
The only difference is he'll run. He doesn't get very far because he's not very fast, but he'll run if he has to. So, I don't know. So, do what? 2 defensive tackles in the first round and Spencer Rattler in the fourth? Will people be happy with that?
No, they won't. They're not going to be happy unless they trade up into the top 5 and get the quarterback. It's either going to be May.
Yeah.
It's got to be May or McCarthy for a lot of this fan base to be happy.
But I tell people every year, and this is before I was on YouTube. I would go on Purple Score North, and I'd go on shows on that when they would have guests on, or Sirius XM when I would call in there. The one thing I always tell people is, just because you want that guy, that doesn't mean the team wanted that guy. So,
and you got to remember, everybody, the draft is a crapshoot.
Yeah,
it is a crapshoot. I mean, half these guys that are picked don't make it, and some of them that do make it, they're just lifelong backups.
Yeah, I went over the QBs taken in the first round the last 10 years. It's not very good.
Yeah, it's not very good at all. I mean, it's a lot of hits. There's very few hits and a lot more misses.
Like Sam Darnold was number 3 overall, but is that Sam Darnold's fault, or is it part of the situation he's been in because the 2 teams he's played for have been dumpster fires?
His is the situation, especially with the Jets.
Right. And he played pretty well for the 49ers when Purdy was out.
Right. I mean, it's, we'll just have to wait and see, folks.
And if KOC is the quarterback whisperer, we shouldn't have an issue.
And this is why I say this all falls on KOC now.
This is his team now.
Yeah, this
all the ties to Zimmer, except for a couple players, are completely gone.
This is his team.
Yeah.
So he's got to prove.
So, what's left from the Zimmer team? Harrison Smith,
O'Neal,
Justin Jefferson,
Bradbury.
That's
could be a June 1st cut.
Right.
Jefferson.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah, Young, that's what I'm saying. I don't think Darnold's going to be as bad as he has been before because the team and the situation he's in is far better. Yeah.
Yep.
George, tomorrow night's podcast will be on everyone's channel. It'll be on this channel. It'll be on both these channels, my channel, Yogi's channel, SK's channel will be up. His is Purple Skull Network. That's his channel. And GG Boys, it'll be on theirs. Vikings, Minnesota Vikings Sports Talk is Dave's channel. It'll be on there. Raps channel will be there. Justin's channel will be there. Mike's channel, Zoe's channel. All the channels are connected to tomorrow's night's show. So let me see right now. Let me check for you real quick. All right. So Skull State of Mind, which is D Woods, Vocal Mike, which is Mike, Yogi, my channel, Purple Skull Media, which is SK's channel, GG Sportscast, and then Jamie. I think Casey is not. I think it's just gonna be Jamie for the GG Sportscast. I think Casey's not available or doing. I can't remember. But yeah, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 9 of us on tomorrow, and I think I think you can have a total of 11 or 12 people total on StreamYard. And so the other spots will be open for guests to come on. So yeah, we're trying to build it, George. We're trying to build it. My channel right now is the one that's struggling the most because I don't have time to. With me working, pretty much all I do is live. I don't like to make videos. Everybody else makes
Mhm.
videos. I just do live, so I think that's why mine is struggling the most right now.
I'll probably do my first Tony's take after the draft.
Yeah,
I haven't done one
and
since
that might and
the
I'll ask
season.
Yogi to put that on my channel as well, so I can get more views on that as well.
Mhm.
But the wrestling show, if you guys like wrestling, Tony and I did a show with my brother-in-law a couple Mondays ago. That's on my channel. It was done on my channel. So if you click the link in the no, yeah, George, you can't donate to my channel because I don't have enough watch hours and I don't have enough subscribers. You got to be a certain amount of hours and subscribers to get monetized for YouTube, and I'm not there yet because I just do live videos. So I haven't done videos yet, but I'm trying to grow my stuff. And then but the wrestling show, Tony and I, we may do a wrestling show maybe once a month
Yeah.
if people want to.
Yeah.
Having my brother-in-law on, like if you guys want some stories, my brother-in-law has some stories, and he answered a lot of questions for Tony. So if you like wrestling, I know not everybody does, but if you like wrestling on my channel, if you go to my channel, Skull TY Catch, you click the link on here, it'll be it'll be the wrestling show. So so that was a good show. But other than that, we do this show every Wednesday. If you guys have ideas, let us know, George. If you have an idea, Young, you have an idea, Mary, you have an idea, Bob, anybody
We're
in
open.
here.
We're open to
We're,
everybody's ideas.
yeah,
Any
because we're
suggestions?
running out.
Yeah.
Like the only thing we could do is we haven't done the '98 season yet. We could talk about it. We haven't done the '09 season. We haven't done the '17 season. We could do those seasons. We did the 4 Super Bowl seasons already, plus the 4 Super Bowls. We talked about those seasons.
Mhm.
We talked about uh, obviously the show tonight, but we've also talked about draft picks just in general. We did a draft show. We did bust. We did the greatest. We done top 10 coaches. We did the front office. We did the inaugural season. We've done like all those shows. I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple of shows that we've done.
We did the history of the team right away too.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So how they were the very first show is how the team started and how they chose how the colors and the name of the team and the guys who started it and how they were supposed to be an AFL team, they ended up being an NFL team, all that type of stuff we talked about. Um, um, oh,
Oh,
George.
sling.
Oh, for some reason, I saw T Bass make a comment, say something, George. I forgot. I wanted to tell you, but I totally forgot about it during the show, but I remember now. For some reason, your comments I could not see in StreamYard. So that's probably why your question was not answered because I didn't know you were in there because unless you make a comment, it doesn't tell us who's watching our show unless you make a comment. And then I saw T Bass said something, made a comment back to you about something about George. And I thought it was you, but I couldn't see you in the segment. So right now, I don't know if you've ever seen StreamYard, but it shows us and then it shows the chat and it says who makes the chat. And then um so like then I click on it to show your image on here and I saw T Bass said something to you and I didn't even know you were in there. Like you're for some reason your comments weren't showing up.
Actually, Gamer, we did that show.
Yes.
Yeah, we did that show.
Yeah. No. Tony's more of the wrestling fan than I am.
I haven't seen it yet. I've heard good stories about it, but I
I
haven't
think
seen
it's on Netflix too.
it. Mm-hmm. It's an old movie. It's about 10 years old.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have not seen it yet. Well, we can take this time to thank everybody for coming on.
You're red flagged? I don't know what that means.
He's probably there watching what he says and watching what he posts.
Oh. People are way too sensitive nowadays.
George, thank you so much for coming on the show.
George.
Gamer, Mary, all the others. There was a couple that
Davey, Bob.
Yeah.
They were here. My mom, as always.
Zoe.
You can say a lot about my mom, but the one thing my mom has always done is she supports everything I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
So
tomorrow night we'll be on Yogi's channel. And
this one might be up there too.
Thank you everyone for the support.
Yeah. Marissa Torme. Well, if she's in that movie, I might have to watch
She's in that. She's the girlfriend.
Is there a biological clock ticking over here? These two Utes.
Yeah, she's in that one. She's the girlfriend.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Tony and I cannot thank you guys enough for being loyalists. Actually, we really appreciate it. For those of you who appreciate history, we know people out there who don't. So, I love Zoe. Zoe's awesome. But he can learn some history. Even JJ cares more about the Vikings history than Zoe.
Mm-hmm.
The show just happens to be a little late for JJ because he's on the East Coast, so it's 10:30. He usually has school the next day, so he usually can't watch. I think he says he watches it later.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah. So
I have friends of mine that I send them the link and they watch it. So they watch it later.
Yeah, try to send it to my channel, to the Yogis.
Okay.
It's right here in the bottom underneath my name, Skull TYA Catch 84. That's my channel.
Okay.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody being here, and then we'll see you tomorrow night.
Have a good night, everyone.
Vikings, let's win this game. Skull Vikings, honor your name. Go get that first down, then get a touchdown. Rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, 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 fight. Go Vikings, run out the score. You hear us yell for more. VIKINGS, Skull Vikings, let's go.